and David Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday the 13th. Is that a thing with you or not?
Top of the morning to you, Dave. Miller and Moulton, welcome to the show. For whatever reason, David, the music fired and I had a little technical difficulties and you didn't hear it.
No, so actually, I heard it. No, actually, I heard it and talked for 20 seconds. So we've got some technical difficulties. There's no doubt about that. So take it away because I have no idea if I can hear you. You're cutting in and out in my headset, so you might as well take it away right now.
Well, if I'm cutting in and out, unfortunately, they can't hear me at the station, so they kind of need you. But top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. The gremlins of Friday the 13th have reaped their ugly head. I don't need them today. I kind of have a big day health-wise, so I'm not buying Friday the 13th. If you are, hell, we've already got a poll question up to start the show about it. Great show lined up for you. Pat Kerwin, Whit Watson on the show. Conference basketball play going hard with the big conferences last night. Florida State gave it a run. Man, they played hard right to the bitter end. Great block late in the game, had a shot to win it, and came up short against Duke. But a run ends for the Seminoles because, to me, the only way they were getting in is really they may be a shot if they got to the conference final, but I thought they had to win the ACC, and, man, were they given a chance last night.
Had an 8-point lead, then Duke goes on a 16-2 run, and Duke's got an 8-point lead, and Florida State comes out of the last media timeout trailing by 5 or 7, and they cut it to 1 and get the stop. And, you know, it's tough to fault Robert McRae. Played a terrific game. He's going to be probably third team All-ACC. I wish he had attacked and not settled for the weakest part of his game, and I know he had hit a few threes, but I wish Mark he had attacked there and gone into the lane, absorbed contact. He's big-bodied guy, okay, and then who knows? Maybe he even disses off to somebody to shoot a open jumper. But yeah, both Carolina and Duke played 79 games last night in the ACC quarters, which was remarkable in and of itself. But yeah, Florida State likely out despite finishing the season very, very strong. Are they a tournament team today? Oh my goodness, without question. Without question. I think they challenged to go to a Sweet 16 today. Problem is, you know, the whole season has to be judged, and they were lousy to start the season, particularly in the ACC, where I think they started 0-5.
Right. They figured it out by the end of February. That's a little too late for the Seminoles. But the Lightning got off their schneid with a nice 4-1 win last night at the expense of my Red Wings. But you saw it coming. I told you. I bet money on it. I was that confident in Tampa Bay last night.
Well, I was impressed because you said 5-2 and the final was 4-1. So basically, you called it. I mean, you didn't just say that the Lightning would win and the Wings would lose. You said that the Lightning were going to take it to them. And I understand they scored too late, including an empty netter. But listen, not to make and spend too much time on the Wings, but it is interesting when a team, and we talk about this in all sports, Mark, when a team has a shortcoming and you're approaching a trade deadline, how, as a general manager, do you not address the shortcoming? If you want to make the playoffs. Yes, I'm sure they're asking for a little more than you'd want to give up. But, Mark, you know, your Wings needed additional scoring. You had one elite forward, and then 4 minutes after the deadline, he gets hurt. Okay, so now he's not even playing. All right, and you can't score.
Nope.
I mean, if you make the playoffs at this point in time, you know, like my $20 right now, would you bet on your Wings to make the playoffs?
No, I said that after they lost to Florida. And, you know, I think it was, I said it yesterday. Tampa had been playing poorly.
Yep.
What they needed was a bad team to come in, and they got one in Detroit. They took care of it. Vasilevsky played very well last night, but they played a team that has a lot of difficulty scoring. That's what they needed. They didn't get a goal till I think early second, and then they got one early third to make it 2-0, and that was enough for them. But from Tampa's standpoint, they're trying to track down Buffalo, because I do think there's a difference between playing one of the wild card teams and playing, whether it's, it looks like probably Montreal, but I think there's a break there of who you play. Do you think they match up really good with Montreal? Okay, I'd rather play Detroit or Columbus, all things being equal.
Right. Or Boston, or right. I agree with you. I just think that when the Lightning have their act together, that, to be honest with you, there's only, Buffalo's emerged and Carolina's been there all season. Listen, when John Cooper held a little media session after the morning skate, and I don't know if you caught it, but Coop was calm, cool, collected, and confident. And just said, you could tell it was a guy who had just run his team through a couple practices, and maybe they had talked, some of the guys and him, and he knew that, we're going to be okay. And he just flat told the media, he said, we're getting this thing turned around. Don't worry. We're also getting a couple guys back. And, I know. Hey, I know how rough it's been. Okay. I've been here for it, but we're going to be fine. And sure enough, they go out and they play a really solid, complete game. And Vasi, that's the other thing. I mean, this year, Mark, he's a top 5 goalie.
This year, he should win the Vezina.
He
should win the Vezina this year. I don't know if he's going to. He should. And, last night, and again, not focused on the Red Wings, just talking about sports. How many times have we seen this? 2 teams struggling. One team has what? Playoff pedigree. They've won championships. That group can, I don't think John Cooper had to say much to his team. I really don't. I think he probably said some things, but I can guarantee you it wasn't a yelling and screaming. It was the same way he dealt with the media. Calm. That's his demeanor. That's how he is. He may have even cracked a joke or two. Well, come on, guys. We've been there. Calm down. Play hockey. He might have used a Herb Brooks line. Play your game. But one team's been there. The other team hasn't. Well, when you haven't, you grip the stick a little tighter. You squeeze the bat a little tighter. Whatever scenario, you dribble too much. Whatever sport. But last night was the case of 2 teams. One team had been there, has been there, and has pedigree. The other doesn't. Mm-hmm. And the way that they each react is everything about how seasons go. And, I wouldn't if it was a team I didn't follow and we were watching a team who'd not made the playoffs in a decade, if this were the Jets, to everybody can relate to football. If this were the Jets right now, would you say the odds of them doing what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did last year, or what, an Eagles team has done through the years? You just know more times than not, the team with pedigree gets it done. So
that's why when you establish it, it's so big, because it can last a really long time if you keep certain key people around. And, they've gone really for most of 20 years. For most of 20 years, the Lightning have kept it going. They had the St. Louis, Le Cavalier group. Okay. And then they transitioned to, the Stamkos Hedman group. And now, you throw in a Vasilevsky and a Kucherov and a Point and a Hagel. And, oh, by the way, who's been the coach for the last 12 plus years? Right. Same guy.
And I hope, because I think there's a chance that now Ruff and Buffalo will get it. because of what they've done. And if they wanted to give him the, what is it, the Adams? No, what's the coach of the year?
Adams.
The Jack Adams trophy. If they wanted to give it to the guy in Buffalo, I get it. But man, and I'm worried now because Tampa's faltered. And if they don't win the division, he may not get the Jack Adams trophy. That's one of the crimes in sports.
No doubt. No doubt. The number of times that Riley and Phil Jackson won the Coach of the Year award in the NBA, I think they each won it once, and that's it. And John Cooper's never won the Jack Adams. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, listen, how many times has Spoelstra won Coach of the Year? I mean, you ask people in the NBA who the best coach in the league is, and they all say Eric Spoelstra. You ask people in the NHL who's the best coach in the league, and most all of them say John Cooper. Well, you can't find a way to give them Coach of the Year once? And hello, you're the one saying they're the best. I mean, can't pick one season and go, we're going to give it to them this year. I mean, they finally gave Paul Newman an Oscar. I mean, at some point, you just got to go, what's our problem? We've been
and I said it before. You know what's going to keep him from getting it this year? Canadian voters. He didn't win the gold medal. They're going to hold it against him. And you think I'm wrong, and you laugh and scoff. David, I'll bet you right now he doesn't win. I'll bet you anything he doesn't win it.
Okay.
Because the Canadian voters will hold that gold medal against him, even though it has nothing to do with the National Hockey League.
I was going to say, so even though it was McDavid and Makar's fault, okay, we're going to blame
McKinnon.
John Cooper.
Let's go with McKinnon.
McKinnon and Makar. Okay, well, also, the more I watch the replay of that, Cale Makar could have gotten that puck. Okay, and for whatever reason, Cale Makar backed off when it was going down the boards and let the U.S. winger get the puck, and then the winger also not only controlled the puck, but bodied Makar off. I mean, Makar could have absolutely gotten that puck, and he literally is going for the puck, and he stops himself because he was unsure if he could get there. Anyway,
I'm just telling you.
Hopefully Cooper and the Lightning finish from first in the division, and then we can make the $20 bet as to whether or not he wins Coach of the Year. Miller and Moulton. Lightning with a big win last night. There were a few college basketball teams with big wins and big losses last night.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
At the Diamond District, we have that one-of-a-kind ring that she's been dreaming of.
Whether you're beginning to think about proposing or already have something in mind, we're here to help.
Our sales team listens, educates, and guides you to the perfect engagement ring so you don't have to feel intimidated.
We guarantee that whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here.
So when it's time to pop the big question, come visit us, Jason and Todd, at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh. Golly. Oh boy.
So a Nepo baby with a baby got cheated on, is what you're telling me.
We've had no Aurora this week, have we?
Nope. She and Sonny ran off together.
But I don't think it was our doing with Aurora. I have a feeling we're going to find out that she just, went on vacation or had a week or. I don't think so.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X on this Friday, the 13th. And you had a poll question up before the show started asking basically, do you think it's a thing?
Yeah. Do you think Friday the 13th is unlucky? It's as simple as that. People get into this thing. I don't. I can't, to be brutally honest. I have everybody knows what I'm doing and what's going on. I have a very big test today that's going to kind of determine, my life going forward. So I can't buy into Friday the 13th. I didn't even think about it when they scheduled it on Friday the 13th. I don't know if I would have changed it. I don't think I would have. But no, I've never bought. I buy into the full moon thing. That weird crap happens on the full moon because there's evidence of it.
Okay.
Talk to a police department. My wife's a veterinarian. If there's a full moon, the day after a full moon, there is a busy day in her office. So that I buy into. The craziness of the full moon. People act weird.
I never believed in Friday the 13th until I was nearly 40 and was living in Southwest Florida at the time, and Hurricane Charlie was on a Friday the 13th. And I was like, huh. And then 4 years later, Tim Russert died of a heart attack on Friday the 13th. And I was a huge Russert guy. Meet the Press was every week. Okay, I'd watch Sunday morning. Okay, as he used to say, it's Sunday morning, it's Meet the Press. And you know me, we've joked about it. I'm a political junkie, and he was my guy. Okay. And that one shook me up. I don't think I've watched Meet the Press twice since, but
it's still on.
Exactly. Yes, it is. I've seen the promos.
Okay.
So, but so that now I don't necessarily think like Friday the 13th is going to happen to me. I just think kind of like the full moon thing that you believe in, which I agree with you, by the way. There's no doubt. I mean, it just seems as if more stuff happens. Okay, with a full moon. Police departments certainly go, oh, yeah, full moon's going to be a wild one. Like the years that Halloween is, a full moon, and they go, oh, man, it's going to be a wild one tonight. So, but what do we get? 3 of these a year? 3 or 4 of these a year?
3 this year. I mean, I don't know if it's every year the same. This is the second of 3.
Okay. So, is it a thing? There's no wrong answer. If it's a thing to you, it's a thing. If it's not a thing to you, it's not a thing. So vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. So for me, I said it's a thing because Charlie and Russert, it's a thing. And again, it's been about 18 years since Russert. Maybe I should stop thinking of it as a thing. But anyway, we'll come up with more questions throughout the show. Do you remember when Ohio State was a bubble team and they were on the wrong side of the bubble about 3 weeks ago? Remember we were talking about teams and we're like,
yeah, they had a big win at home against Wisconsin, and they've kind of been off the bubble ever since.
And yeah, they've won 5 of their last 8. That's not incredible.
I was going to say that they've gone 5-3. I mean, that's
correct. Yeah, they've got 5. Yeah,
go Buckeyes! If their football team did that, everybody'd be fired. I mean, what the hell? What are we celebrating mediocrity? I mean, outside of the two of us, what is there a reason to celebrate mediocrity for?
I just wanted.
Holy crap! They went 5 David. They went 5-3. Man, this baseball season's going to be great. Every time someone has a good week, we can celebrate it.
We went 4-3 this week.
Holy blank!
Although you make the case, you go 4-3 for 26 weeks. But back to Ohio State. So before the 5-3 stretch, they're out. They're out. We brought it up. We're like, because they had a couple of big opportunities. They had the late in the season. Didn't the ACC and the Big Ten have one of those things? And Ohio State blew a late lead to Virginia. And it was like, oh, man, they missed a golden opportunity there. That might have put them, in. Now they're on the wrong side of the bubble. Now they've had some nice wins, as you mentioned. They beat a Wisconsin. They beat Purdue, I think, to end the regular season. Huh? Okay, nice win. But they've gone 5-3 in their last 8. My point is, the bubble is so bad that Ohio State's gone 5-3 over 3 weeks. And they've gone from out, nobody had them in, to a 9 seed right now in everybody's bracketology.
Come on, do it with me, everybody. 5-3, 5-3, 5-3. I mean, I like that better than SEC. This is fun.
So now they have won 4 in a row, but 3 of the 4 are against non-tournament teams. It doesn't matter. You can just win a flipping game right now, and you're near the bubble. It just seems as if your stock goes, it's unreal. Still got a few teams that can, I guess play their way in. But, man, the bubble is a dwindling, Mark.
Well, and obviously there was a bracket buster with Miami of Ohio losing. So if they're in, which everybody believes that they are, that's one less team that gets a bid. And yesterday, in more ugly losses, NC State was a loser. You know, Florida State, which we said had to get to at least the conference final, and I think probably win it, they lost.
Auburn lost. Had a 10-point lead mid-second half. Tennessee goes on a 20-0 run.
That should be the end for Auburn.
It should be, but who the heck knows? All right. Teams that were way off the reservation won a couple games in a conference tournament. Now, like Oklahoma, they're suddenly first four out. A week ago, they were out. You couldn't find them with a court order. Now, they beat Arkansas tonight. Look out. That could be the 11th team for the SEC right there. So, another shot for Seton Hall. Playing St. John's in the Garden again.
Yeah, let's expand this sucker. That's what we need to do.
Right. I will say there are two teams out in the Mountain West that are on everybody's either first four out or next four out. They're playing each other in the Mountain West semis. New Mexico and San Diego State. Obviously, one of them's going to get to the Mountain West title game. Will that be enough for the winner? A, but B, if you're in the conference championship game, you could get the damn automatic bid with one more W.
It is, you know, going back, I think it was Jason Camarillo there who talked about it, and it may not have been him, but these small conferences, the Mountain West of the world, they've got to do a better job. They've got to work with the other small conferences, with the A10. I think that's the best idea I've heard in regard to how to get more of these mid-majors, if you will, in the tournament. They've got to schedule games in February, and it's got to be NBC Sunday Night Football flex scheduling. They've got to figure out a way, hey, we're going to play a conference matchup. I don't know who you're going to get. I'm going to put it on the schedule, and it's going to say A10 TBD, because they've got to figure out a way to play a handful of games in February that have meaning instead of playing the low team in their conference. If you got to start conference play a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier, or maybe you play a couple December conference games, fine. You've got to get some February games that matter to these teams. I think it would make a big difference to get more teams off the bubble and in the tournament.
I thought I read where the American, South Florida's conference, and the A10 were talking about trying that out next year, like maybe saving one weekend where their top four teams all play each other, just to try to give each other a chance for a quad one type game, a top 50 net game, that sort of deal. The starting five is next. Pat Kerwin in 90 minutes.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
He should have never got the job. Pearl retired when he did, so he would get it. It's not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. But he didn't deserve the job.
And on top of that, by leaving when he did, he stuck him with the roster that he stuck him with. And also, some kids could leave, although I don't think they did. But yeah, but LW, apparently they've been in intense negotiations all week. So it's far and away the most serious they've been. The fact that the league has not come, in my opinion, the fact that the league has not come out and said, well, the deadline's come and gone.
Yep.
So
They've been working hard. We didn't bring it up on air. We brought it up off air yesterday. But yeah, I think they're close to getting this done. And Feeney, I look at, with FGCU, I don't know how many years does he have left on his contract? Is he going into a buyout year?
well, no, here's the problem. Before the season started, they gave him an extension. He got originally a 5-year contract. He just finished year 4, but I don't know how many years they extended him for. And I don't know, was it a real extension or a recruiting extension? I was told his buyout's $1 million.
And they don't have it. And this is the guy that the old white people wanted at FGCU, Feeney.
At least 4 of them did.
Well, they're the 4 that matter.
Yeah, well, they were the 4 that got listened to.
I mean, you hire a coach who failed, who has racism charges in his past, and that's who you bring in. Pretty tough to recruit against that guy. And you don't have any money to bring in kids. So, whatever. And no one goes to the games. Empire, please don't rub it in. I'm taking this okay. My son is taking it very hard. He was 16 the last time they went to the playoffs, and he watches every game. And they're blowing it again.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Today's a Friday the 13th. We ask in a poll question, so do you believe in that sort of thing? Is this a thing for you? Or are you like, no, it's Friday?
That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We had a couple of poll questions yesterday. One was, are you happy with what your team's done in free agency? And by a slim margin, you were not. 54% said no, they are not happy. And it was Girl Scout Day, but we've done the Girl Scout cookie thing enough. It was also another stupid day, National Baked Scallops Day. But David loves scallops, and he loves shrimp. So I asked what your favorite shellfish is, and shrimp, with the Dade Broward vote late, David, takes the title at around 35%. Crab was second, lobster third, and like we predicted, scallops finished last.
All right. I can handle that, though. I can handle that. And the one thing I was curious about when you voted yesterday, were you taking the amount of work that one had to put into your, shellfish? Does that enter into the equation as to whether or not it's your favorite or not? That's all. It's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through the 3 pillars of business, sports, and tourism. BST. Let's start with college hoops, shall we? Canes are through to the ACC semis. They knocked off Louisville 78-73. What's interesting is that Miami finished ahead of Louisville in the standings, yet Louisville's the ranked team and Miami is not. Tonight, Canes and Cavaliers in the ACC semis. Boy, we urged you to take a flyer at the beginning of the week. We said Florida State's 100-1 to win the ACC. And it's going to come down to the quarterfinal matchup Thursday night when they play Duke. And Duke's got 2 guys out, and this is as vulnerable as Duke will be. Florida State led by 8 mid-second half. Duke goes on a 16-2 run. They've got an 8-point lead late. Florida
Boy, you
State
thought it was over there too, didn't you, David?
Yep.
I mean, Duke did what they do. They went on the run. They're making threes. Florida State can't find the basket during that stretch.
Nope. And it lasted a while, too. And then Florida State dug in. Cut it to 5. Cut it to 1. Gotta stop. 7 seconds to go. Got the ball in the hands of the guy they wanted in the hands of, Robert McRae. And he hesitated near the 3-point line. I was hoping he was going to drive into the lane and put up a shot, maybe absorb some contact. Who knows? Maybe get to the line.
Against Duke?
I understand.
That's so cute.
But instead, he stopped. He took a step back. He shoot the hero ball 3, missed it. Duke 80-79. They advance to the semis where they'll face Clemson. UCF got off to a horrid start. They were down 30-9 against Arizona. Arizona ended up winning by 22, 81-59. My favorite part of the Big 12 tournament, we've talked about it a couple times this week. They changed the floor last night. Enough players were slipping and sliding on the LED floor, including a Texas player who got hurt. All right, in which 3 coaches went to the commissioner and basically said, get rid of the floor. And so for the rest of the tournament, they're going to play on a hardwood floor in the Big 12. Miami of Ohio lost, and they lost in the quarters of the MAC to UMass. UMass was a quad 4 team before that win. So is the MAC now a 2-bid league, or is Miami of Ohio at 31-1 in trouble? UMass 87-83. Auburn seems out. They blew a 10-point mid-second half lead, lost to Tennessee by 10. Ohio State is in, baby. They've won 4 in a row. Hell, they're probably going to be in an 8-9 game. Oklahoma is trying to play their way in. They've won a couple games in the SEC tournament. They beat A&M by 20 yesterday. Oklahoma has suddenly appeared on a lot of bracketologists' first 4 out. FAU season came to an end. They lost to North Texas 74-70. Some games to pay attention to tonight. We mentioned Oklahoma. They've got Arkansas. Seton Hall's got St. John's in the semis, by the way. So if they were to beat the Johnnies on their home floor, look out. And the Gators open up SEC tournament play by taking on the last team they played in the regular season, Kentucky. Florida, a 10.5-point favorite. Late tonight, Mountain West semis, 2 bubble teams facing one another. You know what that means? It means one of them's going to get to the final. And is that enough? New Mexico and San Diego State. 9 games in the NBA last night. Magic have won 6 in a row. They held off Washington at home in overtime, 136-131. Heat have won 7 in a row. Bam with a mere 21 in Miami's 112-105 win over Milwaukee. But Orlando and Miami getting hot at the same time that Toronto has started scuffling, and very quietly, both the Heat and the Magic are no longer play-in teams. They're the 5 and the 6 in the East. Toronto's a game back in 7th. For that matter, Philly's now tied with Atlanta because Philly's scuffling along, and the Hawks have won 8 in a row. Your Pistons whooped up on the Sixers last night, Mark, 131-109, while Atlanta...
And Cade only had 8.
Yeah.
I mean, they whooped him, and the best player had 8 points.
Right. And the Hawks, meanwhile, beat Brooklyn 108-97 for their 8th straight win. Give it up to the Nuggets. Yeah, the Spurs didn't have Wemby, but the Spurs had a 20-point second-half lead, and Denver on the road came back and beat San Antonio 136-131. Jokic's line, just for the heck of it, 31 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists. His 26th triple-double of the season.
Well, David, it's not just big for the comeback. You talked about the play-in in the East. You've got, 5 teams right now. One of them's going to be the play-in team. The Suns are only a game back of the T-Wolves, and these matchups are critical to me. We think the West is better, so someone's going to end up in that 7 hole, and it could be a pretty damn good team.
And right now, the red-hot Clippers and the scuffling Warriors are an 8-9 play-in game. Phoenix, you mentioned the Suns. They won 4 in a row, Mark. They beat Indiana 123-108. Dallas snapped an 8-game skid. They beat Memphis 120-112. Luka with 51. LeBron came back after missing 3 games with an injury. Lakers over the Bulls 142-130. And I'll tell you what, no Tatum, Brown with 34. Boston just went 0-2 on the Spurs Thunder road trip, and they just lost both games by a combined 6 points. SGA set the all-time record of most consecutive games scoring 20 or more points. He had 35 last night. The 127th consecutive time he scored 20 or more points. OKC with 2 free throws with less than a second to go to beat Boston 104-102. 14 games in the NHL last night. I'll give you about 10 or 12 results. Lightning beat the Wings 4-1. Tampa 2 back of the Sabres, who suffered a shocking loss to Washington. 2-1 Caps. So Tampa 2 points behind Buffalo with 2 games in hand.
The one thing there, though, is Buffalo has 3 more regulation wins than do the Lightning.
Right. So right now, Buffalo would win the tiebreaker, but the Lightning 2 points back with 2 games in hand. Panthers in overtime beat Columbus 2-1, a valuable point that the Jackets lost because they're 1 point behind Boston for the final playoff spot in the San Jose 4-2. The Sharks move into the last wild card spot out west. Austin Matthews finally scored, but then he got taken out in the third period on a dirty hit. And the Leafs did not go after the guy who delivered the knee-to-knee hit. Okay, that organization is broken.
Trade me right blanking now and hang up the phone.
Unbelievable.
To quote the great Denny Lemieux.
Toronto did beat Anaheim 6-4. Dallas beat Edmonton 7-2. Connor McDavid in a fight. They were down 5-0. He was annoyed. Good for him. Colorado beat the Kraken 5-1. Seattle's now a point behind San Jose. They'd be out of the playoffs. Man, the Mammoth can't beat the Blackhawks. It's a thing. They lost to them in overtime last night at home 3-2. Nashville left a point on the table, losing in a shootout at Vancouver 4-3. The Preds are that 1 point behind San Jose out west. Vegas a point behind Anaheim for first in the division. They beat Pittsburgh 6-2. Philly making a run here after the Rangers embarrassed them. They've won 2 in a row. They went to Minnesota, beat the Wild 3-2 in a shootout. They're 5 points behind the Bruins. Speaking of the Rangers, they scored 4 in the third. What has happened to them? All of a sudden, they're scoring goals. Mark, your team needs to send a couple of guys over. That the Rangers hadn't scored for 4 months, and now all of a sudden they're scoring goals.
And they're still the worst team in the conference.
And they are. Not even close. Golf, the Players, 5-way tie for the lead at 5 under, although Austin Smotherman had a 15-footer for birdie on his final hole yesterday. It was the 9th. The sun is setting. It had rained, and he decides, I'll mark it and come back today and putt the 15-footer. Everybody said to him, what are you doing? He said, there's spike marks everywhere. He goes, no. He said, it was dark. No, I'll putt it this morning. So he has a chance to be the first-round leader if he can make that 15-footer this morning. Justin Thomas leads the group 1 shot back at 4 under. How about this group at 3 under? Finau, Oberg, Fleetwood, Hovland, and Schauffele. It's not bad. Scheffler and Koepka were both even. Spieth 1 over. Rory 2 over. All right. And Colin Morikawa withdrew after 1 hole with a back injury. NFL. Well, we talked about it a good chunk of yesterday morning, and we looked like we knew what we were talking about 2 hours after the show ended when Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings. Same deal that Tua got, 1 year, $1.3 million, because the Cardinals are paying him $36 million. So the Vikings only have to pay him 1 and change. Kyler Murray, going to be your starter in Minnesota. Sorry, JJ. Tampa Bay, Mark, is this good enough? They got an edge rusher. Lions defensive end, Al-Qadim Muhammad, who did have 11 sacks last year, but he had like 7 of them in 3 games. He had 3 huge games, and the rest of the season was okay. 11 sacks, though. Bucks get him for 1 year, $6 million. He turns 31 at the end of the month. I don't see how for $6 million it's a bad signing. I'm just not sure the guy can do it again. If he can, awesome.
Who's the hutch on the other side that he's going to get all the breaks?
I know. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Totally with you. Bill signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson to a 1 year, $6 million deal. I got to admit, I like some of the free agent moves that the Bills have made, particularly fortifying the defense. 49ers bring back linebacker Dre Greenlaw after 1 year in Denver. They signed him to a 1 year, $7.5 million deal. But on the same day, 27-year-old pass rusher Bryce Huff retires. Man, we've had some, 26, 27, 28-year-old guys that have just said, no, man, this league's brutal. I'm out of here. Eagles signed linebacker Arnold Ebiketie to a 1 year deal. He was with the Falcons last year. The state of Florida formally charged Atlanta edge rusher James Peace Jr. with 3 felonies and a misdemeanor. Cowboys signed cornerback Kobe Durant. He just spent the last 4 years with the Rams. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know, courtesy of Lee County, Florida. Building a better community. The police department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
At the Diamond District, we have that one-of-a-kind ring that she's been dreaming of.
Whether you're beginning to think about proposing or already have something in mind, we're here to help.
Our sales team listens, educates, and guides you to the perfect engagement ring so you don't have to feel intimidated.
We guarantee that whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here.
So when it's time to pop the big question, come visit us, Jason and Todd, at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sorry, David. You said Lee County right at 50. I'm like, he's done.
Yeah, that's on me. It's in my head, it's 54. And then when the music started, I went, oh, come on, Moulton, it's 53:50. So that's on me.
I really wanted to tease this next segment too. You were running long. It is what it is. Because I really plan on derailing the show next.
Oh,
and I'm blaming you for it.
That's a tease right there.
That's the onions of you, sir.
I am completely blaming you. And I was so excited. I had the Mike Greenberg tease in my head ready to go. And I'm like, damn it, he is just going to keep giving NFL guys.
Sorry.
No, it is what it is. I'm happy you looked up because it was 30 and you're rolling. And I'm like, please just look up for a second so he can see my hands. Because I don't know if he can see the clock, but I know he can see me. I know you can see the clock, but I don't know if that's the first place you look, I should say.
I have to admit now, you've got me at hello. I mean, I can't wait to find out what this is.
That was a great tease for us and the Twitch YouTube people. Anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But a whole new audience at the top of the hour. I think it'll work. You need to win a game you're not supposed to win.
Yeah, Dallas on Saturday.
I was just going to say, God.
Then they have then they've got 4 games of which they can win 3, but I'm not calling them we. I'm a little too upset to be referring to them as we.
Well, the other thing is, hasn't it been a little while since they've won a playoff series also? Like it's been like it's 10 years.
Not, David, they may not win a playoff game. This team is so soft.
No,
I mean, they don't know how to hit. Their way to hit is they poke check. I mean, there's a play along the boards, they try to poke it past the guy. They're not a Panther team where they go through a guy, if you know what I mean. It is. I think McClellan he's got to go nuts watching him. I think he hates coaching this big group of you-know-whaties. There's about 3 guys that aren't afraid to use their body on that team, and they may have the best defenseman in the game, the best true defenseman. I get Makar as the points guy, and he's an elite skater and all those things. Mo Seider might be the best defensive defenseman in the game right now. He's really good. Florida is dirty, but they're also incredibly physical. And Kachuk's dirty. I don't know how many other guys. Kachuk's dirty.
Hey, by the way, this is going to piss a few people off. The Lightning have done a few things this year also, which it's got a few people not happy with them either.
The Lightning play right on the edge.
Yep.
Right on the edge. That game against Buffalo, they were the one that initiated all the dirty play.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait till they play again.
Oh,
it's in Buffalo.
Give me 7 games of that.
Please find a way to get it on TV. God.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2, Miller and Moulton, on a Friday. Happens to be a Friday the 13th. That's our poll question. Is that a thing with you? Think Friday the 13th's bad luck? Yay or nay? At Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin, 1 hour from now. Whit Watson in about 90 minutes. Talk a little football and a little golf in our 8 a.m. Eastern hour.
But before that, I'm going to derail the show. I'm going to see just how uncomfortable I can make one David Moulton. And it's all his fault, by the way. I'll explain.
Whoa! How is that possible?
Give me a minute. But before we do that, I mean, I still had to have a tease. I got to get to something before I derail the show. Because people asked early on, we asked the poll question, do you believe Friday the 13th is unlucky? Here are the reasons why Friday the 13th came into being. First off, Judas was apparently the 13th guest at the Last Supper. We all know the fate of JC after that. In Norse mythology, 12 gods had dinner when Loki arrived as the uninvited 13th guest, leading to the death of Balder, a beloved god. It goes on to there are legends that claim Adam and Eve, that they had their food on Friday, on a Friday. Jesus was crucified on Friday, but there was a novel in the early 19th century that was a Friday the 13th novel. And also the Knights Templars were all brought in on a Friday the 13th, where many of them were executed. So those are the reasons behind why Friday the 13th is thought of as an unlucky day. But that's not what I wanted to bring up, because there was a story that I saw yesterday in the New York Post. And David, why do I read the New York Post?
Oh, because of me.
Because of you.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for you advising me to read the Post, follow the Post on X, this story would have never come up. And I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but I can tell by your head being down that I think you know what direction I'm going in. But the New York Post had a story yesterday talking about men, and specifically their Johnsons, and the size of said Johnson based on what state you are from.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The size is somehow has a connection to the state line?
It does. It does. And you would never think, maybe you would guess this state. Now I'll let you play at home for a couple of seconds of which state apparently the men have the largest members from. I would have never thought it because I know people from this state, and I would never think it. But Iowa is the state with the largest hogs.
Is that a Hawkeye or a Cyclone?
Exactly. Very good. I like that. 7.31 inches on average.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Here we go.
South Carolina, second. Arizona, third. New Yorkers, you get the fourth spot. Where is the smallest Johnson from? Well, that distinction goes to, where is it now? This article is horrible because it's all over the place, and they didn't rank him in order. They ranked him, in alphabetical order. But the smallest state are North Carolina, Arkansas, and then kind of the middle of the country. Your Nebraska, a small state. Kansas, another very small state. Colorado, a small state. That's because they smoke too much weed. And New Mexico, all averaging under 6 inches. Floridians, I'm sure you want to know. 6.5 inches. Your average. Way to go, Florida.
Okay. Listen, I don't want to question the results, but I do have a question. How did they get the results?
I'm glad you asked, David.
I mean,
researchers surveyed over 3,000 U.S. adults and asked participants to self-report not only their flaccid but erect size of their members.
Yeah, man. First off, we're really going to take people's words on this? I mean, seriously?
Come on. I could put that up as a poll question. Have you ever measured yours?
Well, but like people wouldn't lie about something like this.
It depends. If you need to lie, then lie. Some of us don't need to lie, David. Some of us can just handle the truth.
Some of us?
Yes.
Okay. You speak it like you're a native Iowan. there.
No,
My
no,
goodness.
I'm just a kid from Michigan that apparently is very average at about 6.5 inches. But
Oh, for goodness sakes, golly.
but you have to remember, I've spent a lot of time in locker rooms, and hockey locker rooms maybe, and I don't know what a basketball locker room's like. I don't know what a football locker room's like. I don't know what a baseball clubhouse is like. But I will say Canadians don't care, and hockey players don't care. It is a well talked about subject. They all know exactly what every other person looks like and have no problem commenting on that.
Listen, I've spent a lot of time in locker rooms. I don't look below the waist. I mean, I don't. Yeah,
That's good for you, David. Some
man,
of us do.
Man, am I uncomfortable right now?
I remember in gym class, there was one particular member of my high school who was well endowed.
Oh, my goodness.
And everybody knew it. And one person had heard it, but not seen it. And all of the sudden, while we're showering after a gym class, here come two of my buddies who stand and start talking to the guys in the locker room and then left. The whole reason was Demetrius Delaney was in there and he had to see it for himself. So there you have it. You can find it. Just Google it. Penis size by state. There'll be a few stories that will come up.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Thank you to the New York Post. I am so happy right now because
I am so uncomfortable right now.
I'm glad. And as someone who had from time to time had to get down on a knee in a locker room to hold a camera, I don't know how you didn't look below the waist.
I didn't. Okay. And believe me, it was a challenge. Okay. Especially when Warren Sapp was spitting seeds at you. Okay. Sapp would hold court butt naked with a towel on. All right. And he used to make, because there were so many people that wanted to talk to Sapp that there were so many TV cameras. Well, if everybody's standing up in the front, it gets in the way of the TV cameras. And so we would kind of form a U-shaped, group of people with all of the TV cameramen, the second row, U-shaped, but all the reporters would get down on a knee or just duck down. And oftentimes I was a reporter down on a knee. And this one time I was closest to Sapp. I was right in front of him. Okay. And Sapp is talking and spitting, and he's got a big towel in front of him. Like he sits, he's got his legs spread wide, he's got a towel on himself, and then he put a big towel in front of him. And that was so nobody could be on the towel. He would create some space for himself. And then we all formed the 2-row U shape behind him. Reporters in the front row, camera people behind the reporters. And he's spitting on to that towel. And a couple of them are bouncing off me and what have you. And one of them bounced off me, and I kind of looked down and I looked up at him. Okay. And he just goes, eyes up here. I go, I got it. I said, I was just looking at the seed. Don't worry. He goes, just eyes up here. I got it.
My only Warren Sapp story is that we were at the Super Bowl in Miami. He wasn't playing in it, but he was there. And you were doing something, and John and I were going to get lunch. And we're walking wherever from the convention center, and there's Warren Sapp, and he had his girlfriend or wife or whoever it was with him. And they're walking hand in hand, and he is wearing a Gilbert Arenas basketball jersey. And I mean, Warren Sapp's a large human being.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's just wearing a tank top, you're seeing this upper body that's just massive. And while holding hands with his girlfriend, wife, or whomever she was, he took his other hand and placed it over one nostril and let out a buck snort that went about 30 feet.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, wow, classy. Almost as classy as that segment. If you want to know your state, you can look it up.
Oh, boy.
But Iowa, who would have thunk it? Iowa, Arizona, South Carolina, the big three. Really, the big three. Only 3 with 7 inches and above. Many, there was about a group of 5 or 6 under 6 inches. The rest really going between 6 and 7. So there you have it.
We really have to go actual size.
Of course we do.
Oh, man.
People want to know.
Can't they just go to NewYorkPost.com?
That's where I went, and I want to thank you, David,
Download
for
an app.
turning me on to that app and following them on X. It's Friday the 13th. Do you believe Friday the 13th is unlucky?
I do
Right now, 75+% of you do not.
I do now. Yep.
Pat Kerwin coming up top of the 8 o'clock hour. Whit Watson, bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, to talk a little golf and a little players. We talked yesterday with Bob Herrig about the proposed changes to the tour. No real hard changes announced, more or less a lot of ideas. When they're going to implement them, how they're going to implement them, that all is to TBD. Because they gave us, Brian Roloff gave us a lot of information, but he didn't really give us a ton of answers. This segment brought to you by Ace Hardware, where their yardstick will work for you as you measure during the break and find out if you're average or not. Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Rowdy, I mean, if you're walking in listening to that on a phone with not headsets in, then I got to admit that's kind of on you. David, any text from your mom? People were really wondering. Is she listening this morning?
I don't know if she is. No.
And no, I've never seen Myles Garrett locker room clips. Unless someone says something really interesting that they put out on X, David pays far more attention to post-game pressers than I do.
Yeah.
I probably should, but I don't. I don't think there's anything to be skeptical about, Feeney. You got him cheap. It's 2 years. If it doesn't work, you move on. You wanted Quinn Ewers? I mean, seriously, did you want Quinn Ewers? Do you think he's a better option than Malik Willis? Because I don't.
Feeney, the thing that I would be most worried about, it's not what you've spent to sign him. I mean, his cap hit this year is under $9 million. His cap hit next year is $29 million. And if you walk away from him after that, it's $7.5 million and 28. And that's nothing for a quarterback. That's less than 1 year the Colts are paying Daniel Jones. My concern may be that the team around him may be so bad that he may not have a fair shot. That's my only thing. My hope is, their offensive line was okay last year. And they could run the ball last year. They got Achane. They still have Waddle. Can it be a decent offense to give him a shot in? That's all I'm hoping for. Left Twix, we talked about it yesterday during a break. I just think Jets fans are so damaged by the franchise that Geno Smith's a far better quarterback now than he was when they drafted him. And quite frankly, Geno Smith coming off a bad year is better than the combination of Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields. So he's going to miss Brock Bowers, though.
Yeah, that's getting right up there with the Vasilevsky. Everybody could really use a Brock Bowers.
It's
a backup somewhere, Left Twix. If he plays.
Man, boy, did the Colts cave on Daniel Jones. Golly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kerwin will join us at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. Whit Watson, about an hour and 15 minutes to talk golf, the players, also some of the things the tour is thinking about doing. Does he like them? Does he not? Whit talks to a lot of people. Talked to Whit Watson a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
Good job, David. I know it's hard coming back from a segment like that, and you did it like a pro.
I'm still shaking a bit. It's why I have both hands kind of clasped together to try to make it look as if I'm not shaking. Yeah,
I have a few hockey players that listen to the show. They're texting me about what they remember from the locker room.
All righty,
and
then.
Who they remember.
Okay, all right. Good to know on this Friday the 13th. Oh boy.
I had this for a good, and I think I'll find a better one. But did you see this story yesterday out of Rhode Island?
The
It
hockey.
is a happy ending. Yeah, a happy ending to a horribly tragic story. I mean,
Yeah.
by now I think everybody's aware of the shooting that took place at the hockey rink in Rhode Island, where a man came in and shot his ex-wife, son, father-in-law, and then himself. Well, the person who did that, his kid was playing. That young man's name is Colin Dorgan. He and his sister survived. He was obviously playing. His sister was not killed. He attends North Providence High School and ended up helping his team to advance to the Rhode Island Division II hockey final by scoring the game-winning goal in double overtime. Look, it doesn't make up for anything that happens, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. But the fact that the team, they talk about basically they had dinner. The team had dinner with him for 14 straight days after that. I mean, they did everything they could do to surround themselves and let him know that they're his family. I mean, the kid will be scarred for life. We get all of that. But having worked in hockey for a long time, I've always thought I've held hockey players above every other athlete. I always will. There's something about the culture of that sport that's different than the culture of any other sport to me. And you may say I'm biased because that's where I've worked, and I'll accept that. But, he said that was the best moment of his life. And the fact that they were to win the game in double overtime and he was the kid that scored the game-winning goal is, for lack of a better term, pretty damn cool.
Yep. And sometimes there's a little light that can emerge from a tragedy. And thankfully, this kid got to experience some joy again.
Right. Because I doubt there's been much joy in that kid's life for the past month. So I just thought it was something a little more worthy of the 30 seconds I give the good at the end of the show, and wanted to make sure that we took a little time to honor that young man for a little accomplishment in the midst of so much tragedy for he and his sister. So wanted to bring that up.
Along the lines of just athletes, and one of the things that also has taken place in the last 10 days is, this is it for a lot of college basketball players, male and female. And when they're in their conference tournament and they're losing, and there's less than 2 minutes to go or less than a minute to go, and all of a sudden the coach takes you out, and you realize as you're walking to the sideline, this is it. I'm done. Done. And, I don't know if it gets you, Mark. I am definitely getting softer the older that I get. But, some of the men and the young men and women and the embraces with their coaches and their teammates, you have had some father-daughter, father-son moments. Northwestern got beat yesterday, and just a guy who, he ain't going to get paid to play basketball anymore. But for Northwestern, what a 4-year career. Okay. Played his ass off. And remember, it was 2-3 years ago, Northwestern went to the tournament, and that was a BFD. And he was a part of that. And, when the opposing coach is like starting his interview by talking about a senior on the other team, That's the type of stuff. I've been choked up a few times in the last few days, Mark. There's high school tournaments happening everywhere, all those videos, because for some they're not going to go to college and play ball. So this is it. And yeah, I'm definitely getting softer. And the funny thing is, not in the midsection. All right, but I am definitely getting softer.
I think that comes with age, but I've always been soft when it comes to that stuff. I'm very sentimental when it comes to that. Yep. It's one of the things that my alma mater does with the basketball team when they kiss the floor and then go embrace Izzo. I've always thought that was a very special thing that, kind of was theirs. And what to me is cool in that I never paid, and I still am I'm not a huge fan of women's college basketball. I have far more respect for it now, and it all comes from working FGCU games so many years ago, is that now the women do it too. It was just kind of the men's basketball team. Now the gals go down and kiss the center of the court before they come off. And I just think that tradition transcending from the men to the women, and so many of these teams now have a little more camaraderie with the men's and women's teams than they ever did before.
Agreed.
As much as everybody around the nation decided to take shots at the men's Olympic team for things that had nothing to do with them, what did all the women on the gold medal team talk about? How close they were with all the men. The fact that they hung out in the cafeteria together and cut it up and had fun. The fact that they went on SNL together, shows this is something that wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have happened. Hell, for sure 20 years ago. I don't know about 12 years ago, David.
I don't think it would have. And the fact that we did say before the Olympics started that the men's hockey team had made the decision to stay, with the athletes
in the
village. And we thought that was, for lack of a better word, cool, and would be an amazing experience for them that they would look back on. And the women did say, they were coming to our games, and we were going to their games. And so, and it worked out. The women won the gold first. A lot of them stuck around and stayed for the men's game.
By the way, Jack Hughes apparently texting the USA baseball team to give them words of encouragement, because they're playing Canada tonight. Kind of a big deal to Jack Hughes. I don't know if it's a big deal to the players on Team USA. I mean, it's not Italy.
Whoa! Look at you.
I don't know if Scooble was on the chain, the text chain, if he's still a member of the text chain part of the team. He's not a member of the team anymore, but it was tough for him to go.
Yeah.
What a clown.
It's just, don't get me started.
What a clown.
I'm
sorry. Do I want my team to win a World Series with them? Yes, I do, because I've rooted for the Tigers ever since I can remember, and they haven't won one since '84. But don't ever give me this love of team crap again. You love one guy, Terry Scooble.
Yep.
That's you. It's the guy you look at in the mirror, and that's fine. That's okay. But don't give us this charade that you care about things other than yourself, because you proved what you care about. It's you, and it's only you, and it's only money. PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. This recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
At the Diamond District, we have that one-of-a-kind ring that she's been dreaming of.
Whether you're beginning to think about proposing or already have something in mind, we're here to help.
Our sales team listens, educates, and guides you to the perfect engagement ring so you don't have to feel intimidated.
We guarantee that whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here.
So when it's time to pop the big question, come visit us, Jason and Todd, at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know what, Spitz? If that's the case, then he's a very soft human being. And I'm not doing that about the other segments. I mean that sincerely, that he's a soft man. If Scott Boras tells him what to do and he listens like that, make a decision for yourself. You're a man. You're not 18 listening to dad. You're a grown man. That he would even be more embarrassing to me. Does he influence him? Sure, but he could tell him no. I will be in Moffat all day today. Big day. And I can't eat or drink. They literally called me and they said, you can have sips of water. David, you know me. I said, well, how many? Can I have 90 sips of water or can I have just a sip of water? Well, you can have a sip of water to take whatever medicine you take. I'm like, well, I'm taking like 13 pills. Might need a couple sips. Thank you, everybody. Hard part is I don't get the results for 7 to 10 days. So I do all this work and have to basically do for a week and a half, which sucks. But you know it going in. No, they have a one of those old putting mats down in the patio. No, nope. I've got a TV and a computer. That's about it. I just do swing drills in my head, Simcoe. I will say I've used the gym a couple of times, and it is funny because no one ever uses. They have a nice workout room. I've never seen a soul in there, which is great because I don't have to wear a mask when I use it. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kerwin joins us at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. Whit Watson an hour from now here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question. It does happen to be a Friday the 13th. Do you believe in the whole Friday the 13th mystique that bad things have a tendency to happen on Friday the 13th?
Is it unlucky? That's what we're asking. Do you think Friday the 13th is unlucky?
And I don't think
Yes
it's
or no?
consistently unlucky, but I do, think,
So it's 5-3?
well, it's not Ohio State basketball, but
Okay.
it's, I put it this way, Mark, most years, I think it's on the outside looking in terms of the bubble, but there are times in which I think Friday the 13th plays themselves right off the bubble and right into the tournament. Yes, I do.
Okay. I have something I want to, we got a text, and I think it's from one of our Tampa listeners. I'm not positive. If it is, great. If it's someone that's, moved to the 239 from the 813, that's fine too. But the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line always open. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000, and then you're in. And he is upset about the Royal there that played for the Gators, that's playing for Team Italy. And
Caglione?
Caglione. I didn't want to botch his name.
Or
He said, I don't
Caglianone?
understand
Yeah.
why someone like Caglione, whose grandpa was born in Italy, not even his dad, can play for Italy. He went to Plant High School in Tampa, for sake. A Florida Gator. If you were born in the country and you were born and raised in that country and have always lived in that country, shouldn't that be the country you play for? I'm willing to accept if your parents were born somewhere else, but Grant's parents, that's crap. Now, he did agree with me because I sent him back a text. I'm like, first off, he would have never made Team USA. And he acknowledges that. But my question is this. If you had a chance to play in the Olympics from the country of your heritage, would you do it? Because, if it was between Team USA and Team whatever, wherever your family came from, I get most of you, I think all of you would play for Team USA. But that's not an option here. You're not good enough to play for the red, white, and blue.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure, and I don't remember if he ended up playing for the Olympic team, but the second year of the Everblades, we had an Italian kid on the team, Cardarelli. And I thought he had an opportunity to play for Team Italy in the Olympics. And I don't remember if he did or not. But we all thought it was pretty cool. I mean, he obviously was never going to make the USA roster. So and as someone pointed, yeah, that is pretty much the entire Team Italy roster. They all have ties to most of them have ties to Major League Baseball, and they all have Italian heritage somewhere down the line. I was told with what I have and what I had that my DNA would change. So before I went through this procedure, I asked my wife for Christmas to get me either the 23andMe or the Ancestry.com so I could swab my DNA. And I paid a little bit of money so I could look at my heritage and was tracking families back to the 16th century. I thought it was pretty amazing that I could see that. So I'm kind of into where I come from, but I've never referred to myself as anything but an American. I'm a mutt. I'm from all over the place, like most of us are. But I did find out, probably, insert joke here, I'm a lot more Polish than I knew. Who knew?
Right.
And if I would have been a good whatever, golfer, hockey player, whatever the case may be, and had an opportunity to play for Poland in the Olympics, because there was no way I could play for Team USA, I got to admit, I think I'd do it.
Okay.
Would you, David?
Well, a couple of things. Well, first off, no. Secondly, what is interesting about Jack, and if I'm mispronouncing his last name, Caglianone, I believe, and he was a prodigious slugger with the Gators, but he's a young player who's just earning everyday time with the Royals and hasn't made it big yet. The irony is, Mark, is that it's not crazy to think 3 to 6 years from now that Team USA would actually like Jack on their team.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering, is there anything in the WBC rules that says if you played for one team, one WBC, can you then play for another team that you qualify to be on that, down the road? But here's the sidebar. I remember writing this column 15 years ago. Becky Hammond, there was longtime Spurs assistant. Now she's the head coach of Vegas in the WNBA. Becky Hammond was Miss Americana, grew up in South Dakota. Played 4 years at a mid-major, I believe it was. Set all these scoring records and what have you. Yeah. Never got selected to play Team USA in the Olympics. She played for Team Russia in 2 Olympics. Why was she eligible to play for Team Russia? Quite frankly, Team Russia wanted to have a better women's basketball team. So they changed their rules that said, which many of these professional women did because they got paid 6 figures to play in Russia as opposed to getting paid $30,000 to play in the WNBA. And Becky played there every year. Well, if you play your professional basketball here, guess what? Go take a test, fill out the form, and you can play for the Russian national team. And sure enough, Mark, 2008, I believe it was, in the Olympics in the semifinals. It was Team USA against Team Russia, and there's Becky Hammond, the point guard on Team Russia, the pride of wherever, South Dakota. She got a bronze medal in 2008, and Russia finished 4th in 2012. Never played for Team USA in the Olympics. Played for Team Russia twice. And I didn't form a conclusion in the column. I just said, basically, are you okay with this? Holy smackers. Okay, the response.
You are going to the extreme. It's Russia, for crying out loud.
I understand.
This isn't Germany or England. Come on. You got to admit, of all the places to play where you'd get the most grief,
but
Russia's only slightly ahead of Iran and Iraq, for crying out loud.
Well, but not necessarily, in 2008 and 2012, we don't really have anything going on. Also, this isn't the Cold War. I get the 60s and 70s and 80s. I totally get it. But 20 years later, and not now, this isn't, the invasion of the Ukraine or anything like that. It was just kind of during a lull. We didn't really have anything going on. But yes, there's no doubt. The name Russia absolutely makes it. It does give off it. You feel differently about it than someone playing for Team Germany, Team Poland, Team Italy. But let's face it, it's the same thing. It is. It's the same thing.
Well, I technically you're right. It is the same thing.
Not technically.
I also know you were writing for a paper where the average age of the person there is someone who vividly remembers the Cold War.
I got it, but I'm bringing it up now.
Because there was, I believe there was a snowboarder that participated with a U.S. snowboarder that was on the China team or the Chinese team.
Yes, her parents are Chinese, and she could participate for one or the other. And China bought her, flat out bought her. Okay, China wanted her, and she competes for China, and she's won a bunch of medals in 2 Olympics now. I think she's won like 5 golds in 2 Olympics. She was born and raised in San Francisco, lives in the United States, competes for China. Meanwhile, there was another woman, exact same scenario. Parents, Chinese Americans, the whole deal. She could have competed for China. I think she was a figure skater. And she said, no, I'm an American. Compete for the U.S. But
Now, again, if I could make both teams, it's obvious who I'd play for. But if I'm a, minor league player in some sport,
yep,
and have the opportunity to experience all the things that go with the Olympics, I have to admit, I would definitely consider it. Would I play for a country that was considered an enemy of the United States? Not in a million years. Would I get bought to do it? No. But to play where I had heritage, I would consider it.
how about, do you think if someone competes in any sort of international competition, whatever, doesn't even have to be in Olympics, if they compete for one country, should they be allowed to compete then for another country? Because I'm telling you, this Jack Caglianone here, if he figures it out, he's 40 home run power. I mean, when he hits them, they don't just clear the wall. They gone. He's got real potential here. He figures it out. He'd be on a Team USA someday.
Absolutely.
And my question to you is, if you're running that basically you say to him, hey, just so you know, you play for Team Italy in 26, in 29 or 32, and you're good enough and you want to be on Team USA. Like, I wouldn't let an athlete play for 2 countries. Like, to me, you got to declare.
So there's no transfer portal of nations is what you're telling me.
Right. That's all. Just pick one.
What if the coach changes? Can you?
Boy, there's a lot of jokes and analogies we could use with this one.
It really is. College football fans going, yeah, right. Shut up, both of you. I don't even want to hear this.
Was it the head coach or did he lose his, shuttle coordinator? Right.
Exactly.
But I'm just curious if you think it should matter, or, hey, if you're good enough to make Team Italy I don't know if there are rules. Can you compete for 2 countries in an Olympics? I mean, can this?
I don't know.
Can this snowboarder bail if China stops paying her? Okay, can she compete for Team USA in 2030? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought the text was interesting because this guy had no shot of making Team USA this year.
Correct. Absolutely.
And wanted to play baseball, the World Baseball Classic. I'm guessing Italy's paying him some money for it.
Well, hasn't there been talk of that, like with golfers? Because let's face it, it's tough to make the Team USA in golf for an Olympics. But, if you've got heritage, you could play for another team because they're struggling to put 2 or 3 in the Olympics.
Exactly. So
but no, for what it's worth, I would not, and I don't, I don't think I wave the flag on this show and, wrap myself in it very often. But no, just for what it's worth, I'd be like, no, come on, I'm an American. Am I proud of my Irish heritage? Absolutely. I very much am. But, and this would probably upset my mother if she's listening, but no, I would not represent Ireland in a competition. I'd say, no, come on. My parents were born here. My grandparents were born here. I was born here. I'm an American. Okay. It's just the way it is.
I guess I just want to stay in the village.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, whether they have enough condoms or not.
Right. That's all. I mean,
For those that
call me,
missed the story, right? They
call
ran
me
out
shallow.
They ran out after 2 days. They meant to order like 5,000. They got like 300 or so. It's just anyway. It was the thing. But I will say it sounds like a poll question.
Yeah,
Okay?
I think it does.
I don't know if we want to use Jack as an example because then we have to spell his last name properly. And
Well, I
it's-
can figure that out.
Okay.
I
It's
really
got-
can. I mean, there is the internet's right here in front of me, David.
Okay, good. There's like 5 vowels in it, though. I'm just saying, and a couple of hard consonant sounds. So take your time with it. That's all I'm saying.
I'll proofread. I'll
Thanks.
definitely proofread this one.
Thanks. But I think it's a good question. I like the fact that you distinguished between, it's one thing playing baseball for Team Italy. It's another thing playing point guard for Team Russia.
Yes, there is a monstrous difference there.
You do know that Russia was on our side in World War II and Italy was not, right? I'm just.
I got you,
Okay.
but we haven't had a basic war of words with Italy since we kicked their ass in the 40s. Okay.
Oh, I know. Okay, Reagan.
This
did not
Russian
say-
thing,
Right.
ever since World War II, it hasn't really ended.
No, I know. Reagan.
There's
didn't
been
say-
breaks, David.
Right,
There's
no.
definitely been breaks,
Right.
but it's
Reagan,
not ended.
Reagan did not say Mussolini tear down this wall. No, I got you. I know where you're coming from. Right.
One thing we never get a break from, twice a week, Pat Kerwin to talk the National Football League. That's next, plus Whit Watson next hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mark.
How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing great. Your mom there today?
My mom is here today. My wife gets here tomorrow.
Your
Get to
daughter
see my
come and see
daughter
you?
for a little bit tomorrow.
Good. Sure, your mom feels like it's a job of love.
We'll see. Depends on the day, Pat.
You are such a wise ass.
Well, just honest.
Well, who said honesty's a good plan? Tear down this wall, Mussolini. You guys. No. I don't care if every guy in the Italian baseball team was from Queens. USA should not have lost. What were they? They thought they were in no matter what, right?
The coach did, moron.
God, now we need a general manager of the Olympic team so he can spell out the rules to everyone.
Right.
Good morning, David. Get that headset on. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
David, I've got it up. I've got the spelling right because I copied and pasted. But the key is, might have spelled the first name wrong if I didn't look it up. His spelling is
right?
J-A-C. I'm like,
Yep.
ooh, that got me.
Your week going well, Pat?
Well, it's so busy. It's nonstop. I mean, you add up all the contracts and all the things going on, and it's just nuts.
How much nicer is it being done at 6?
It's a significantly large difference.
Yeah.
Especially for my wife.
Well, in 3 hours versus 4, I just, David and I have done both. And we do 4 now, and that's fine. But the 4th hour, when we started doing 3 for the first time, we were like, holy crap, this is
my God.
easy.
There were a few times in which we were done and didn't realize it for 30 seconds to a minute. And we were like, wait a minute, we're done.
Yeah, that's happened to me this week because with the amount of business going on,
right,
3 wasn't cutting it. But it's fine. I'll tell you what, I got a lot of nasty notes from listeners, though. All the West Coast guys.
Oh, sure.
They're the ones that get in their car and on the way home put it on.
Here we go.
We're not there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third hour of Miller and Moulton on this Friday the 13th, final hour of the show in Southwest Florida. Venice, Port Charlotte, Live Oak, Lake City, halfway home in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a Friday the 13th. We ask you whether or not you believe in, some of the stuff associated with Friday the 13th. That's a poll question. Plus, we came up with a poll question last segment. Okay. Royals DH Jack Caglianone, former Gators standout. He's playing for Team Italy. There's a bunch of top prospects.
He's not the only one.
No. But, there's a bunch of guys on Team Italy who are, 100% American, if you will. Born and raised, the whole deal. But they qualify eligibility-wise to play in the World Baseball Classic for Italy, and they are. And there's a lot of people doing it for other countries as well. And we just asked you, you're born and raised in one country. Would you play for another in an international competition or not?
Yeah, basically, if you couldn't make Team USA but could play for a country of your heritage, would you do it? That's the question. Yes or no? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Time to talk the National Football League with Pat Kerwin. Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West. In fact, very close to where I'm staying here in Tampa, where you cannot fake fresh. My Catholic heritage, David. I may have to go to Pinchers tonight for a little fish. Free agent week is moving along. Pat, obviously, teams make big splashes. And obviously the big story of this week happened last week, the Max Crosby trade that ended up not happening. How much of a bind has that put Vegas in? Because the way we see it, and correct us if we're wrong, that Vegas is now done making moves. Once they got Crosby back, they've got about enough money to sign their rookies and rookie free agents that they sign. I mean, did they get put in a bind by this in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. But there are teams that are very conservative right now in signing. Seattle has really signed no one that wasn't on their team before, and that includes their latest one, D'Anthony Bell, who was with them last year for most of the season. Minnesota, very conservative for cap reasons. But let's just use Malcolm Kuntz for a second. Do you think they were going to give Malcolm Kuntz a 1-year, $11 million deal if Crosby was coming back? No. That's an $11 million hit on the cap. And I'm sure they're thinking we need to load up our pass rusher room since Crosby's gone. Well, those things add up to them kind of being out of money. Now the question really becomes, and they swear they're not going to do it, which always tells me they probably will they try to move Crosby as soon as he can pass a physical? Because he's still a huge upgrade to a lot of teams. And even Jerry said, well, probably not going to do it, which tells me he'd love to do it. So I don't know. They could unhook themselves again. We'll see about that. But people wanted to start blaming Baltimore for something. We all know how this goes. You have to pass a physical to be signed. And I had guys that didn't pass physicals, and they were sent back to us, and vice versa. So it was interesting how people tried to make it a story about Baltimore getting slippery at the end. The guy didn't pass the physical.
But Pat,
don't go spending money you don't have yet.
But Pat, what we're hearing is there's guys who don't pass a physical that you're expecting to pass a physical. And then there's guys 2 months removed from surgery who everybody knows is not going to be able to pass a physical till June. And then you back out of the deal because he can't pass a physical. It's like, well, you knew he can't pass the physical. The question is, can you think he can pass a physical in 3 months, but you were still willing to make the deal? That's the problem that people have with Baltimore. That, come on now, you're backing out because he can't pass the physical. You knew Friday night when you made the deal he couldn't pass a physical today.
He didn't show up on Friday night or Saturday to take a physical with the Ravens. He showed up on Tuesday. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Back you go.
All right.
And Pat taking the side of the team, which is not much of a surprise to us because that's the backing that Pat has.
What team are you talking about? The Raiders? No. I took the side of the team that failed him on his physical.
All right.
You wonder. No, let's just finish this conversation. You wonder if they said, don't go in there till Tuesday, because that's right against the 11th hour.
Did you ever go through with a trade when somebody was injured when you made the deal, but you knew 2 months, 3 months later he was going to be fine?
We wanted to, but our doctors failed him on the physical, and our owner said send him back. We were ready to wait it out. The doctors in certain places are very powerful.
No, I get it. You know, we all know the famous Drew Brees physical. Okay. No, we get it. Although to think that the doctors nixed Brees when Nick Saban was running the organization. I mean, you know, that's rich. I just want to say that's rich. The biggest control freak maybe in the 21st century in coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to blame it on a doctor that Drew Brees didn't sign with the Dolphins. That's rich.
Well, I will tell you what I know that Big Nick said to Brees, and I've said it here before. He told Brees on a Friday, you're not going to pass our physical because the doctor failed him. He said, but I'm not going to announce it till Monday. So take the weekend and go find yourself a job. And he went up to New Orleans. And New Orleans, Mickey told me, they were prepared to not play him for a year. He said, we're not going to get our hands on a guy like Brees. So if he can't pass the physical, we're prepared to sit on him for a year until he's healthy. So I thought Nick kind of did him a favor, letting him go find a job before they announced he failed the physical.
We had someone on yesterday who thought that the Raiders would still demand 2-1s from Crosby. David and I disagree that because of this failed physical, and now if there's urgency between now and the draft, that the price has gone down. Has the price for Crosby gone down in your estimation?
Yes. And mainly not because of the injury. I think it was too much, honestly. So here's one for David. You can shoot a hole in it, David. I got asked this question yesterday. I said, well, let's take a look at Seattle. They're picking 32nd and 64th. They got a ton of cap space, and they're defending the world title. And they're out of the conference. If you were the Raiders, would you take Seattle's first and second this year? Because by my count, which is not official, to say the least, by time Seattle picks at 32, there'll be 6 pass rushers gone. And you can look at this and say, do I want the 7th pass rusher or would I want Crosby? And would you give your first and your second, 32 and 64 for Crosby?
I'd probably, if I was the Raiders, want another pick in 27 thrown in because, you know, the picks I was going to get from Baltimore, the first one was 14. So it's a big drop off, you know, going 14 to 32, never mind a 1 next year versus nearly a 3rd round pick this year. I would try to get a 3rd rounder out of them next year. But yeah, if I'm the Raiders, you know, emotionally and mentally, Pat, come on, we had moved on. The 3 of us had met and we had moved on from Max Crosby. And, you know, the fact that we're still stuck in this shotgun wedding doesn't mean that we don't want to move on from him.
I'm with you. And so I will, which I rarely do with you when we negotiate, but I will throw in a 3rd in 2028. I'll push that back a year.
And I'd still take it. But Pat,
thank you.
You know, you mentioned the edge rushers. You are very high on the edge rushers in this draft. David, I thought, made a couple of points this week that are very valid. It's tough to count on a rookie edge to be a double-digit sack guy. So when I look at Tampa and I look at Detroit and even Jacksonville that needs another edge rusher, in my opinion, for a great defense, should they be in the Crosby sweepstakes now, or do you think at, you know, and particularly with Tampa and Detroit at 15 and 17, can they do well enough there with this particular draft class?
Well, there's two versions of the rusher. Are you the guy opposite the star? Like Cleveland could use one that way. Or are you going to be the new bell cow? Because if you're going to be the new bell cow, it's very, to your point, very hard to be a double-digit sack guy. So I was looking at defensive. This is the right weekend to look at everyone's rosters and see where their deficiencies are by volume. Do they have enough of what it takes? And you start looking at things called defensive line, and that's 2 variations of that. 4-man fronts, 3-man fronts. The outside linebackers make it a 5-man front. And you start asking and looking around saying, no, who doesn't have enough? And then inside of that number, who's got poor talent in the group? So, yeah, I think there's a number of teams. Now, that would be the dream of the Raiders. If the teams you mentioned, Mark, decided we should get back in on Crosby. Because, and they may lay low on this. We have a lot of time till the draft, and we have enough time for some level of improvement on his physical. And we'll see what happens. I think Cruz has done all the right things. I'm back, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean anything to me. I think he's still a commodity that you can trade, and I think there's a couple after it. See, if I was Seattle, I'd do it now and say, we'll get him ready to play. He'll be fine by the time we play. To your point, David, and I'd say, here's my 1 and my 2, and then I'll give you that 3rd in 2028.
Pat, 30 seconds. Do you have to be cap compliant every single day? Or like everybody got cap compliant by 4 o'clock Wednesday. Let's just say I've got 20 million in cap room, but Crosby's 30. Can I make the Crosby deal and be 10 million over because I don't have to be cap compliant till a month from now? Or do you have to be cap compliant every day?
Every day. It is and the owners love this, it's a hard cap. Unlike some of these other sports that really, they don't even have caps. They call them caps. But no, you got to be compliant every day.
Okay.
And basically, look, everybody is all the time. If you're not, they'll just start peeling guys off the bottom of your roster until you are compliant. And remember, we're only counting the top 51, not top 53, which is your final roster. We're not counting what it costs to draft the players and all that other stuff.
Pat Kerwin, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6, CBS's NFL Today Show.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
At the Diamond District, we have that one-of-a-kind ring that she's been dreaming of.
Whether you're beginning to think about proposing or already have something in mind, we're here to help.
Our sales team listens, educates, and guides you to the perfect engagement ring so you don't have to feel intimidated.
We guarantee that whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here.
So when it's time to pop the big question, come visit us, Jason and Todd, at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh. Dun, dun, dun. How's everything going with your show, fellas?
Pretty good. I mean, obviously, we could always use a couple more sponsors, but other than the Fort Myers affiliate cut an hour of our show off, but we can't really do anything about that. So on 4 in Tampa, we're still on 4 in Jacksonville, and they're bigger markets. So
You got anything going on this weekend, or just chilling?
I have some friends that are down here for the month of March and April. That one of them used to work for me at the Jets, and he's down here. And I think he and his wife are coming over Sunday. They go to the beach if it's a nice day, one of those things. But just this, I'm grinding every day, and I'm quite early getting ready for the next phase and catching up on all the signings in the overnight. I was getting ready today to talk about people that are voided in a defensive line front, and Philly was going to be leading the way here. And then they signed Arnold in the overnight, kind of put a Band-Aid on their issue. So you just got to stay on top of things that are trendy and what the listeners like to talk about and all that stuff. What'd you get? 16 trades, David? You keep your eye on the number. Maybe it's 15 without the Crosby one.
Oh, I didn't count up the trades.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You must love the Jets. They have 3 of them.
Well, they have a bad roster. They should be using every mechanism they have.
Yep. 16 trades, by the way, by my count. Yeah. I don't know what that looks like to me. Seattle.
We found it interesting. I don't know if we'll get to it here in our last 10 minutes, but we have found it interesting that a couple of the guys who have left Tampa have made sure to go out of the way to basically say, yeah, I left because I don't think I can win there. So it seemed to me like a not so thinly veiled slap at Todd Bowles.
Yeah. Well, nothing like going out the door and leaving that kind of hurricane behind you. Todd's a good guy, and he's a good guy to play for. So if they think it's going to be that good at other places where actually he understands what players go through and he's kind of good to them at practice and everything else, well, they'll find out. Who was I talking to the other day? And I said, someone from the Saints too. And I said, and it was a retired Saint. And I said to him, Tampa keeps winning the division outside of last year, and nobody had a winning record anyway. But what happened to you guys? He's kind of defensive about it. They haven't won that much. I go, well, Brady won, Baker won. Anybody know where Kirk Cousins is going? I want to guess.
I think he's going to pull a Flacco.
Yep. Me too. Wait.
Yep. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments this week with Pat Kerwin, NFL Radio, CBS's NFL Today show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. All right, Pat, let's cover as much ground as we can. Yep. Kyler Murray to the Vikings, not a surprise. Your thoughts from the Vikings standpoint? This is a very different quarterback than they've had recently.
Yeah, I think if I'm the kid, Kyler, I go there because I think the coach is going to do everything he can to help me be a better player. He did it for Darnold. He's going to get tutored. That's in my opinion, and he'll probably win the job. and he'll get a chance to play, and that's what he needs to do. And they gave him a no transition, no franchise, no trade, so he knows he can. It's a work study. He's going to do it for a year, and he's going to try to do exactly what Sam Darnold did.
And if KOC pulls this off with Murray, I'll be really impressed, because I'm not sold at all on that young man as a quarterback. But Kirk Cousins, we thought was the natural fit for Minnesota. But as you mentioned last segment, they've got cap issues. So Kurt doesn't play for a discount. Where's he going to end up?
Well, Arizona's one spot, but I think, and I think you guys will probably agree with me, as this goes on, he's a family guy. He likes Atlanta. His wife's family's from there. I think he's going to sit home. He was terrific on TV with us. He could get a TV job in a minute, and we have an empty seat at our place. But I would think that he's going to wait, and when someone's starter goes down on a very good team, then he'd go there, because he'll be the number one guy on the emergency list. And he's very bright. He'll pick up any offense pretty quickly. And he's a better guy than people think. I'll say that. And I like the way he thinks about preparation and everything else. But I would not go to a bad team. He doesn't need the money, and he doesn't need to be stuck in a place that might win 6 games, 7 games. Wait it out. How about you, Mark? Would you wait it out if you were him? Because
I think that makes a lot of sense. I thought Minnesota made the most sense, but now that doesn't look like a possibility, I think you're onto something, Pat.
Well, I don't think he'd go to Minnesota. Look, I think he's getting $10 million from Atlanta in that settlement deal they did, but he probably wants another 15 to play. And they're getting the other kid for $1 million, and they got McCarthy still. It's not like this is a desperate move, and a year from now they've got nothing. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, just wait it out and be choosy. He's the kind of guy that might wait it out and not do anything. He doesn't need the cash.
I also have a feeling he's the Steelers' fallback. That, Rodgers is plan A, and that they've talked. And Miller and Moulton believe that Rodgers has already told them, yeah, I'm probably coming back, and they're just going to keep it quiet like they did last year. But I wonder, Mark, if Cousins is the Steelers' fallback. The Broncos have done very little. We mentioned Seattle's done very little. These are very good teams. Seattle's got a lot of money. Denver's got 18-20 million, and they've got needs. Are you surprised at some of the guys, the teams that have done nothing?
Seattle surprises me. I mean, they lost their running back, and now they've signed no one from the outside. They just really upped their insiders, and it's only 4 of them. And I'm counting Bell because he was there most of the year. Minnesota's done nothing. They have one. I think James Pierre is the only unrestricted guy they got, and then they re-signed 2 of their own. So those 2 teams are extremely quiet. When you look at Denver, what they are is they're buying back all their own guys. And I'll say this, you guys can argue with me. I stood on the sideline and watched New England beat them, and I still thought that Denver was a better team than New England. And I said, those guys had to look at themselves and realize, we got a good team here. We should have won the game. And if you look at their signings, I think 10 of them, all 10 of them are their own players that they brought back. And I don't believe they might have one in there that was from the outside, but everything else is just putting your roster back together and giving guys money to stay.
Yeah, we thought they needed a running back, Pat. We still think they need a running back. And I know you can draft one. I get it. But there were – and even if you didn't go with the Walker or the ATN, I thought that there were other guys, whether it was Gainwell. I mean, I just thought there were other running backs out there that I would have taken a shot on because, as David pointed out, when they signed J.K. Dobbins and when he got hurt, this is a guy that can't play a whole season.
Nope. And you look at the guys that are still on the street, and you start to realize no one's probably answering that question to your satisfaction and mine either. Brian Robinson, Nick Chubb, Zamir White, Najee Harris, who's injured. Mostert's 34. McNichols is 30. Austin Eckler's 30. And then there's a bunch of guys that I think will get to a roster after the draft. But the guy is not there right now. So you might have to go dig out someone in the draft.
The Lions have lost some guys too, and I'm just curious, like the teams out there that you think right now that, wow, they're not nearly as good as they were 2 months ago. Does anybody fit into that category?
Well, right off the bat, Seattle to me, because the running back was so good, and Charbonnet probably not going to be ready to go. So that's a major blow in one guy, a major blow. I haven't really looked at the attrition rate of places. I'll probably get to that this weekend, but it's a good point, because at the end of the day, you got to balance the pluses and the minuses to answer the question. I do think there'll be a couple of teams that will not look as good. And typically I'll start with the guys that were in cap jail right before the deadline, and then they had to get under the cap, and they have cap casualties where they had to dump some guys to just survive the cap. And those guys are usually where you'd say, no, they're not as good as they were. And that's what happens when you don't manage your cap.
Exactly. Well, on the other side, there were a few good teams that, Seattle was one, and I know you brought them up, that had cap money. I get that Vegas and Tennessee got better. Well, they had no choice. They were god-awful. Is there a good team that you went, I think they're better than they were a month ago?
Well, I was just about to answer the question on the other side. I'll say it quick and get to your one. And to me, Minnesota's defensive line, whether you like Jonathan Allen and Hargrave, they're gone. And they were pretty good inside on defense. And we kind of thought of them as a good defense. They're not going to be the same team on defense. Harrison Smith's probably done. So you look at that group, and you get to worry about them. Who got better? Well, I don't go by volume on that, Mark, and I have a feeling you wouldn't either, because if you went by volume, you'd be talking about Houston, and you'd be talking about Tennessee, and you'd be talking about the Jets. Now, it's not very hard for the Jets to get better.
Right.
And I think they are better. By how much, I don't know. Enough to win 8 or 9 games? Probably not. Houston, to me, they're always pretty active, whether it's their own guys or everything else, but they love those one-year deals, but they signed a lot of players. And the ones that from the outside that can help them, well, Montgomery's going to help them. Dalton Schultz, he'll be fine in the whole deal. Reed Blankenship, that'll help him. I like that kid. Didn't play great last year. I'm not a Braden Smith fan, but he's there now. Logan Hall's there. So a lot of volume, not a lot of impact.
Got to get CJ Stroud turned around, or else all these signings aren't going to amount to much. So if you've spent most of your money, we've got less than a minute. As a team, is it just get ready for the draft?
Yeah, and I think a lot of personnel people, the GM especially, he likes to be done with this phase and move on. And because to the draft is where the concentration has to be. There's still pro days to run around the country too, all that stuff. I always say, save your money. Don't go to them, but they do. They love going to them, but they want to close the door on this. They know. And look, I have a list of just starting for today. I have 35 guys that I think will all be on rosters. And most of them I might make the case are going to be after the draft signings. It's going to be a nice set of veteran players. They're in their 30s. Let's say you need guards and the draft doesn't provide you guards by where you go. You can turn right around and get a plug-in guard that'll give you another year. Batonio, as an example, Kevin Zeitler. We know the names. So those kind of guys, I don't think I'd run off and try to sign them before the draft. I'd see if I can get myself a 21-year-old first. And if I can't, come right back around and take a guy for a year. All right. Parcells used to call them, hold down the fort guys. What he meant was just help us get to next year, and then we'll be fine.
Pat Kerwin, NFL Radio, CBS NFL Today Show here on Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Whit, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for doing this as always.
Of course.
How shocked were you that we'll ask you again, but when Morikawa pulled out, did anybody see that coming?
Especially those of us that had him in the pool. No, yeah.
I'm in a fantasy golf league. You get to take every guy up to 5 times. And, there's the A, B, and C brackets, but I text the guy running the league because I didn't have him this week. And I'm like, are they screwed? He goes, oh, yeah, twice. He goes, not only are they screwed for this week, that's one of their 5. I'm like, ouch. And 47% of our league had him this week.
I took him in a one and done. We have about 14 people in the league, and I think 5 people took him this week.
Ooh.
Yep. Ooh. Let me just drink this hemlock. Yep.
I will say I've always been, I've played golf my whole life. I'm a huge golf fan. Doing this fantasy golf with 5 guys changes. I watch very differently now. Trying to figure out which C guy I want every week has me paying far more attention to the tour than I ever have.
I hate to say it, but I really only watch for the guy that I took. The first 2 days just to see who makes the cut.
Right.
And then I watch on the weekend to see who wins. But yeah.
Exactly.
I feel badly because I don't get involved. And I text Mark. There's a couple of formulas as to, who plays well at the Players, besides the obvious. And you had to be in the top 20 in this and top 30 in this and this, that, and the other thing. And I guess the only guy who met the criteria this year was, what is it? Is it Jake Knapp?
Yeah.
Jake Knapp. So I said to Mark, I go, hey, for what it's worth, people who kind of do this, they said, he's kind of the outside choice to put money on. So, of course.
75 yesterday.
Right. Mark.
He's on my team. 75.
Shoot 75. And I'm sure, my co-host is thinking, hey, could you just leave my fantasy golf thing alone, please?
Would you mind not helping me, please?
Right.
Ever again.
Right. Could you just start?
My big pick was Oberg this week, so he's in the hunt. So I feel good about his 3 under yesterday.
Yeah, you're not in trouble.
No.
You would find that leaderboard.
How about Homa's card yesterday?
Whoa.
Eagle, 6 birdies.
That was the
2
classic
doubles.
Shane Bacon psycho scorecard. That was woof.
Wow. How do you eagle 10?
He
Yeah.
obviously, hold out.
And he started on 10
yesterday. The Gala hold out on like 14 and ended up getting himself to 5, I think.
And Homa started on 10, Whit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking at his card. Yeah.
Many birdies as pars. And shoot 1 under.
So I'm looking an eagle and 6 birdies to shoot 1 under. That's
right.
That's working hard.
That's quite a day. So Hodges missed his birdie putt this morning to finish. I see.
Oh.
65 under.
When was his tee time for today? Like, I'm curious. Like,
He was shoot. I just looked that up.
was he early? So it was not that big of an inconvenience.
No, well, no, because he didn't finish yesterday, so he was late. No, I'm sorry, he was
Late early.
Late early. So he would have been early this morning, but I don't know how early. Because
All right, here we go.
He's already out for his second round.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Whit Watson, kind enough to join us once again to talk all things golf. Whit broadcasts a lot of golf for various networks. He also does a weekly golf show called Making the Cut. It airs on 96.9 The Game in Orlando. It also airs in Jacksonville. I believe it's a half hour earlier in Orlando than it is Jacksonville. It's also available on the iHeart app. You can follow Whit on X at Real Whit Watson. Whit, David, and Mark, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Kind of a wild day at TPC Sawgrass yesterday, especially if you're a Colin Morikawa fan. We were just talking off the air about he was a pre-tournament favorite, and God forbid you had him in a one and done pool like some of us did, and got him all the way to the second tee before he took a practice swing and decided he couldn't go. That was terrible. And he said after the fact that he just knew immediately that he wasn't going to be able to finish that opening round. And then you had the weather delay in the afternoon that set some guys back to darkness. We were just talking a second ago that a couple of players were just finishing their first round as we're coming to air. So yeah, kind of a weird day up there in North Florida.
How much, I don't know about easier is the right word, but is the course going to be more forgiving? David and I were kind of texting back and forth during the day yesterday. There were some big bounces on those greens. It was an interesting day, and that course, plays pretty fast. Does the rain make it a little bit more manageable today?
Yes. And I was reading from a couple of riders who were on site yesterday. There was a window after it rained yesterday and the sun came back out in the late afternoon when the golf course was about as benign as it's ever going to be all week. And their point was that was the time to go. If you were going to make birdies, you better have made them in the afternoon yesterday. The scoring average in the afternoon on Thursday was about a half a stroke lower than it was in the morning. And if there was weather overnight, and I don't know that there was a gale warning in North Florida overnight that lifted at about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's now about 8:40 as we talk. So if they got some more moisture overnight and it's soft in the morning, then the morning might be the time to go. Because as the days go on, as we all know in Florida, if it's windy, which they expect it to be, it's forecast about 13 miles an hour today in Ponte Vedra. The golf course gets dry, the fairways get firm, the greens get firm, and that plus the water is the number one defense at the stadium course. So these windows of Thursday afternoon and Friday morning, you better take advantage of it. This is not a great golf course to make a comeback on. And these are the times when you need to start stockpiling birdies.
For what it's worth, mostly sunny 70s today, mostly sunny 70s Saturday. 60% chance of rain on Sunday. Rain seems unavoidable.
Yeah.
From the forecast that I've seen here in the Jacksonville area, whether they can play through it or not, we shall see. Can I take you back to the day before the Players? All right. We've talked about this before, but just the people you talk to, you watched Brian Rolap on Wednesday. Okay. Anything that you heard that set off alarm bells, anything that you heard in which you went, oh, I really like that?
I wouldn't say alarm bells, but one thing that did kind of catch my ear was when he talked about this concept of, I'll call them parallel tracks on the PGA Tour. And it was interesting because on my show, I had used the phrase the A Tour and the B Tour just a few days before he brought it up on Wednesday. And for those who didn't hear it, one of the themes that came out of this future competition committee was essentially doubling the number of signature events and having the best players aspire to those events with a field of about 120 players each, 21 to 26 events, the best players competing for elevated purses. That's all the majors plus the players plus the playoff events. And then having, we'll call it track B or tour B, which runs concurrently in the summer, in the fall. And the players that don't make it to track A, they've got a place to play. And if they play well, they can ladder up, as he put it, into track A. Well, that sounds a lot like promotion and relegation in English football, which was something that I had talked about on the show. And then he actually used that analogy, those words, in his press conference on Wednesday. And that kind of caught me by surprise because I had floated that concept of, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about an A Tour, a B Tour, and the Corn Ferry? And essentially he said, yeah, we are. We're talking about the A, the B, the Corn Ferry, and the PGA Tour Americas, which I think surprised a lot of people, but it also answered the question that a lot of players had, which is, you know, if the answer to everything is play better and you don't give us a place to play, how am I supposed to play better? Well, this at least answers the question of where am I going to play? None of this is set in stone, and he repeated that every 5 seconds during his address on Wednesday. But that's definitely a concept that really caught my attention was let's just go ahead and say it for what it is. We have a 1%er tour, and then we have a second version of that tour for everybody else. And now there's a place for everyone to go depending on how well they play.
Well, what's interesting about that, Whit, is that when you had the signature events and they were 70 guys and, you know, a couple guys got cut, I get a track A and a track B because you had a bunch of events, Puerto Rico Open, etc., where the rest of the guys would play when these events were going on. If you're putting 120 players, who's playing in this Tour B? And more importantly, who the hell's going to show up to watch it?
That's something that he didn't answer during his remarks is what's the value proposition for the sponsor? What's the value proposition for the local organizing committee and for the television networks? Golf Channel, I can tell you, they'll take anything, whatever it takes to stay afloat. They'll take Puerto Rico, they'll take Dominican Republic, they'll take Mexico, they'll take John Deere if John Deere happens to be a track B. And by the way, those sponsors of those events, especially the ones that have been there for a long time, they're going to fight that tooth and nail. They don't want to be a track B event, but are they willing to put up $25 million in purse? And this is where Rolap, coming from the NFL, he's going to say, fellas, put up or shut up. If you got the money to be one of these, and he wants to double the number of signature events to make this work. If you got the money to be a track A event, come on in, doors wide open. But this is, you know, where his lack of history with the tour, he doesn't have any sentiment. There's no, you know, he's trying to maintain these relationships, but I don't think he's afraid of renegotiating deals or just saying thanks, you know, thanks for the history of the business, but we're moving forward.
Also, let's be brutally honest. Tiger is probably the assistant commissioner of the tour right now. And Tiger doesn't have a lot of sentiment either because let's face it, outside of very early in Tiger's career, when he played some events, because he had to, he played Vegas, he played the BC Open and things like that. But once Tiger got to like 1999, he played the same tournaments every year. And so Tiger, you know, the John Deere and, you know, the 3M and you know, the one of the, or probably both Texas tournaments, Tiger doesn't give a damn about them.
And conveniently, a lot of the events that are going to stay in this system are the ones that he played, right? It's the majors, Muirfield, Orlando. I mean, these are events that are not going to be affected by this system anyway. So, yeah, it's the ones that can afford to stay in this financial model where if you can put up a 20 or a $25 million purse, you can stay. Pebble with AT&T is likely going to be the first event of the year because one of his 6 themes was we want to open big on the West Coast so we can finish in prime time on the East Coast as the first event of the year. Well, there's 2 options there, guys. It's either Riviera or Pebble. What's the iconic event on the West Coast so you can open big? Is it Torrey? Is it Phoenix? Come on. It's going to be something in California, probably Riviera, probably Pebble Beach. So, I mean, a lot of these sort of themes are answerable. Playing in bigger markets, the tour's always been weak in that area. They used to play every year in Chicago. They used to play every year in New York area, Westchester. Sometimes a playoff event, TPC Boston, which is actually nowhere near Boston, but that's a no-brainer to play in bigger markets. Some of the other stuff like Tour A and Tour B is harder to get to. And he even said you may not see any of this until 2028.
Well, and, Whit, to me, the other side of this is what you brought up, the sponsors. I happen to have a friend who works for a major corporation. They turned down sponsorship of event because there wasn't enough there, and it was a non-signature event. Yeah. To your point, I don't know how many companies are out there that have the money for what you get to be a PGA Tour sponsor. I think this is going to be the most interesting part of this, as who's there to sponsor these events.
Well, especially considering, what else is in the market. I mean, what about sponsoring a PGA Tour Champions event? What about sponsoring an LPGA event? There's a lot of other ways to spend your marketing dollars at very different price points, and you might be getting better value out of it for a significantly lower dollar than what you're talking about for these so-called Tour B events. And the competition's fierce now. You could be staging. You could be putting your name on a women's professional soccer league match, in stadium. You could, the WNBA. There's a lot of different ways you could go, other than the PGA Tour. And they've already been fighting this battle because of LIV. They've already had to ask more and more from their existing sponsors in this signature model. And now you're going to make it an even tougher ask by demonstrating 2 different levels of sponsorship within your own tour. It's, that's why he gets paid the big bucks. I'm glad I'm not the one making that ask.
I'm wondering if they're going to have to dip into that $1.5 billion that they were given by some of those private investors, because I don't know if you can find 16 major corporations that are going to fork over $25 million.
And when asked what they're doing with that money so far, David, he declined to answer during his press conference. So you would have to think that some of that money is going to go towards some of these events. You would have to think some of that money might go towards paying off existing contracts, to close out loose ends to help move some of this forward. There's a lot that goes into these negotiations, as he admitted he is finding out. You have to satisfy the sponsors that have existing contracts, the tournaments, the venues, their contracts with their local suppliers. The players have certain expectations that have to be met when it comes to the schedule. There's a lot of moving parts. The television networks have contracts that have to be, either renegotiated or moved, or however, other media outlets. And he's discovering all of this. He cannot wave a wand and change the schedule.
Hey, players this weekend, the Masters a month away, because all that stuff to me was like a political convention. He went up there and talked and didn't really say a damn thing.
Yeah, and the Masters is coming sooner than you think, and this is kind of the ramp up. This event gives the players a taste of not the kind of conditions you're going to see at Augusta National, but the kind of pressure that you'll face on Saturday and Sunday. Scotty Scheffler doing his Scotty Scheffler thing, which is getting off to a slow start on Thursday. That's unfortunately become his trademark in 2026. Put himself in a lot of really bad positions on Thursday and still managed to hover around even par, which is kind of what he does. The guys that are up top on this leaderboard are all pretty much without exception players that have won before. Mav McNeely, who won at Sea Island 2 years ago. Sepp Straka won twice last year. Lee Hodges won in Minnesota in 23. Thagala won in 2023 as well. The only guy at the top of the leaderboard was Austin Smotherman, He's the only one in that group that has not won on tour, but he tied for second at Palm Beach 2 weeks ago. So they're all players that are accustomed to being up there. The one name that kind of surprised me was Justin Thomas, who was completely lost at Bay Hill. He went back-to-back rounds of 79 in Orlando, and he's 4 under after a couple of days. And he said that everything that went wrong a week ago went right in the first 2 days. That's golf. Russell Henley played well the first 2 days. Last year's Bay Hill winner, 4 under par in the first 2 days at TPC Sawgrass. So again, that's just golf. And it's a good time to start feeling the good feels with the Masters coming up soon.
Koepka even, Spieth 1 over, Rory 2 over, some of the others after round 1 of the Players. He's Whit Watson. He broadcasts golf throughout the year. He talks about golf on Making the Cut Saturdays in Orlando and in Jacksonville. You can hear it. iHeartRadio app. Also in Orlando, it is on 96.9 The Game. Follow him on X at Real Whit Watson. Real Whit Watson. Hey, enjoy the Players. Thanks for doing this. Sorry about Morikawa. And, how about we talk before the Masters?
We'll do it. Cheers, guys. Talk to you soon.
Whit Watson, kind enough to join us once again on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
I did think of that this morning. I think a Rolap's comments was like a politician at a convention. He said a lot of stuff, but didn't really say anything at the end of the day because he had no answers for how he was going to do anything he said. Not a damn one.
It's kind of like in their prime, Jordan and Jeter, and you thought, wow, they were pretty amicable. They said a lot, and you go back and you listen to it and you go, I didn't say a damn thing. Diamond District bonus hour coming up.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, just remember, I'm running the commercials, so until I mute you, probably try not to groan there because all that's going over top the commercials.
I didn't make a sound. I did a fake, hey, like I got it right, but I didn't make a sound because I know you need a couple seconds to turn the mic off. I just congratulated myself because I finally got the out time right. I was mocking myself.
I didn't realize that Shane Lowry had an 8 on 18 yesterday.
Wow. So is that how he shot 76? Damn.
Yeah. He was 2 under through 13.
Oops.
And I had him on my team, so I was pretty pleased because he was playing reasonably well. I'm like, okay, that's good. I just looked. I'm like, 4 over. How did he go 4 over? He was under par when I last looked. And he hit 2 in the water on 18. That's how you do it, by the way, in case you were wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you sponsor a parallel event?
Oh my God.
Unless the whole thing's going to be in, like, is the Canadian Open now a secondary event? Like, I mean, I guess it probably won't be because they'll be able to get a sponsor for that because it's one tournament there. You know, I actually would think the Detroit tournament's in really good shape. Rocket Mortgage is going to be willing to spend the money.
Do you wonder,
Minnesota
though,
might be in good shape. 3M will spend the money.
Well, right. Do you wonder, though, will both Detroit and Minneapolis, will they keep them both or will they pit them against each other?
I would think they got a great chance of keeping both, David, because let's see, they're both major markets.
I know.
And they both have really good sponsors. And they both draw really good crowds.
Really good crowds.
I would think that like the John Deere's done.
Yeah.
I think the Texas tournaments are in real trouble.
Yes. Will be interesting. Who'd we have on? Bob Herrick, who said it'll be something to say they do this alternate track when Scheffler doesn't play the PGA Tour event, but he plays the secondary tour event because it's the Nelson. And he's loyal to it, and it's in his backyard. Because, Mark, I think that's the only way some of these tournaments are going to get money, where it's just like, listen, I'm the corporate sponsor, and this is my backyard. And so I got to put my name on this secondary tournament because, well, the PR.
But, you know, I would say when you were talking Tiger, I was thinking about the tournament in Flint, the Buick Open. The only reason Tiger ever went there is because he was signed with Buick.
Right. You know, the only reason Tiger played the Valspar was he was coming back off an injury and he needed to play.
That tournament's gone.
Which sucks. Because also, that's a top 15 market.
Right.
And it's a great golf market.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Diamond District bonus hour on this Friday the 13th. That's one of our poll questions. Do you believe in it? That, you know, it's got negative connotations, bad stuff happens. Friday the 13th. So that's one poll question. The other one is, you know, you got some interesting stuff going on in the World Baseball Classic. By the way, USA Canada tonight, losers done. just throwing it out there. 8:00 on Fox. USA Mexico got 5 million. The other two USA games got 2.5 and 2.9. So curious how many of you are going to watch college hoops tonight, NBA, NHL, or will you put on the World Baseball Classic? But we've got some situations, and a bunch of them actually, dozens, where guys who are native to a certain country, but they've got heritage that connects them to other countries. They're not good enough to make the team of their native country, if you will. So they're playing for some of the other countries that they, thanks to Ancestry.com, qualify for. And we're just wondering, you okay with that or no? And Mark, every time I look, overwhelming majority of people are like, yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's where I voted. You voted no. David hates losing votes like this too. This is like 82-18 right now.
Oh, I know. I'm like, damn, I literally, that's one of those, I go, man, I thought it'd be close to 2-1, but wow, this is a butt whooping.
And by the way, you also voted yes that you believe Friday the 13th is unlucky, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
15% think it's unlucky. 85% don't. But yeah, Jack Caglione plays for Team Italy, has Italian heritage, but it's his grandparents. If you could play for a country of your heritage, if you couldn't make Team USA, would you do it? And right now, around 83% saying yes. I'm always, trying during the show to make sure we don't miss anything. You and I both do it. We're checking X. We're constantly looking to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen this a little bit this week, but the new metric, every year it was, forever it was what the RPI was and that's not there. Then it's the net.
Yes. Now
and
the big one is the net.
It is the big one, but there is another one that's, coming on the outside, David.
Oh, do tell.
It's the WAB, the wins above bubble.
Excuse me. I've heard a WOB, World of Beer. The what?
Wins above bubble. Not wives and girlfriends. Wins above bubble.
Wow. WAB.
Yes, the wins above bubble. For what it's worth, when you get to the bubble teams, because Michigan has the best wins against bubble. But for instance, Santa Clara, they're way up there. They're right behind UCF. And we've talked about his Santa Clara. And this clearly by this metric shows Miami of Ohio. They're 37th on the list. Now, Oklahoma has a negative wins above bubble, just slightly, 0.17 to the negative. Texas is just ahead of them at 0.03. SMU just above it, 0.07. Auburn, 0.35. NC State, 0.81. This apparently is one of the new metrics that the committee is looking hard at, along with the net, when it comes to who these bubble teams are. But this one, for instance, this says, VCU is in. NC State would be, they're ahead of the Oklahomas and the Auburns of the world. So I am just curious when we get the committee selections on Sunday. And for instance, like Oklahoma, who continues to win. Well, their win today would probably shoot them up on this metric if they win today.
A team that I wish was being talked about more for an at-large, and they're not, is South Florida. South Florida dominated the American. They're absolutely smoking to end the season. I think their winning streak is the same as the Gators to end the year. They won the American by 3 games. And Mark, they're top 50 in the net. They're neck and neck with Oklahoma. They're ahead of UCF. They're ahead of Missouri. they're 16 spots ahead of Miami of Ohio in the net. And is anybody talking about if South Florida would, let's just say I think they play tomorrow. They're going to play the winner of UAB and some Charlotte. They play tonight. They're probably going to have to beat Birmingham, UAB in Birmingham in the semis. And if by chance they were to lose in the American final, all right, 23 wins, 1 loss in 7 weeks, and a net in the top 50, ahead of at least 3 bubble teams that right now everybody has going in. And nobody's talking about them. They're not anywhere on the, first 4 out, next 4 out. Nobody's got them anywhere. I'm like, how could they not, with as bad as the bubble is, with all these teams that have been losing games for weeks, and South Florida hasn't lost since the AFC, NFC championship games? So,
and I wonder if this metric hurts them because they're 59th. They're behind Akron. They're behind Stanford. Hell, they're behind Arizona State on this metric.
Yeah.
So I brought it up. That's one of the teams I was looking at and why I brought it up, because you and I get pissed off, quite frankly, when it comes to the South Floridas of the world, not just because we're on in Tampa and it's a market that's important to us. I think you and I both have a soft spot for the Bulls going back to Levitt coaching the football team, watching them beat West Virginia all those years ago.
Yeah, we want South Florida and UCF we want the big 3 to become a big 5. We do. We want them to thrive.
And I don't think they have a shot unless they win the American. Not a shot. And that's so disheartening to me because they should have a shot.
Yes. Yes. With also, and our bias, and we admit there is one, and it's not just the South Florida bias, it's a mid-major bias. But my goodness, this is the worst bubble we can ever remember. It's not just that the bubble's weak. It's been weak for 3 weeks, and the same teams keep losing. I mean, are we really going to put Auburn in? They lost 9 of their last 12. Listen, I love Andy Enfield. We're going to put SMU in. They lost 5 of their last 6. Who do we got to talk about here?
Now, right now, Lenardi, for what it's worth, the last 4 in are VCU. And this was the last night he did this just after midnight. So this morning, just after midnight. He did it at 12:10 early this morning. VCU, Missouri, SMU, and Texas are your last 4 in. The last 4 buys not in the play-in game. NC State, Santa Clara, UCF, Miami of Ohio.
Now, to Joe Lenardi, that means that those 4 teams are in.
They're in.
Even if, let's just say Seton Hall or Georgetown, because they're both in the semis of the Big East. Let's just say one of them wins the Big East and steals a bid. Let's just say it's going to be New Mexico or San Diego State that's going to win the Mountain West. That's going to be an extra bid that comes from there. Okay. I mean, they may eat up the last 4 in schools. There may be 2 to 4 bid stealers still out there. Okay. But there ain't 5, 6, 7, 8 bid stealers out there. So that's where those 4 buy teams, they're in.
But your first 4 out, Oklahoma, Auburn, Indiana, New Mexico. New Mexico plays San Diego State today, like David just mentioned. They're in the next 4 out, along with Stanford, Cincinnati, and Seton Hall. Seton Hall still playing. San Diego State, New Mexico still playing. Oklahoma still playing.
If Oklahoma beats Arkansas today in the SEC tournament, it's tonight. Do they get in? Because the team right now that Lenardi, for what it's worth, and Lenardi usually misses only 1 or 2 teams. He's either gets all 68 or he gets 66 or 67. I mean, he is pretty darn good at this. Bad hair and all. All right. But Mark, to me, Texas is the team right now on the bubble. They're the last team in. SMU second to last. I'm wondering if Oklahoma beats Arkansas, does Lenardi just put Oklahoma as the last team in and move Texas in the first 4 out? Because that's still SEC.
Right. I think he would, because he has Texas listed as the last team. Now, maybe I'm wrong on South Florida, David. Lenardi has South Florida as an 11. That's key. That is key. So if they get to the final in the American, are they in? But that if they lose and you drop to a 12 line, you're not in anymore.
Right. I have to admit, I think he's doing that, Mark, because the bubble sucks. Okay, that I think.
But he has him as an automatic qualifier too,
right.
though. He's not putting him in as an at-large.
Right. But he's basically saying the bubble's so bad that South Florida is like one of the 3 best mid-majors, so I'm giving him an 11 because not only, Mark, have we talked about the bubble sucking, but all the upsets that have cost the really good 12s, 13s, and 14s. There, South Florida could get a really good seeding if they can win the American. I just think if they make it to the final, including beating UAB in Birmingham, that I think they should be in. But you're right. They ain't going to get in if they don't cut down the nets.
And to put Oklahoma or Texas in, seriously?
I know.
Because they're really working hard to schedule the South Floridas of the world. They're not giving teams like that a chance. That's where David and I have had a beef with this for a long time. We learned this a long time ago, and we actually learned it on the women's side. When Carl Semesco was doing all the things he was doing with FGCU, we gave the Kentuckys of the world all the credit in the world because Kentucky would schedule FGCU. But, South Florida, hell no. UCF, hell no. Florida State, Miami, are you kidding me? No chance. If they think you're good in a mid-major, the big boys run the other way. The Diamond District Bonus Hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ooh, guy texted the show. He says, podcast listener, but if you need to set an appointment during the show, just book Brando. When we were talking, the problem with that is I don't think you can book Brando for a short segment.
Our longest segment we have 16 minutes. It's not long enough.
No, we have to tape Brando, edit it, and then we put it in 2 segments.
Or an hour and a half, one or the other. Last time we had Brando on, Mark asked him a question. He talked for 8.5 minutes, did not at any point in time address the question.
I've gotten better. I ask reasonably specific questions now.
You asked a terrific question. He took himself on a sidebar. He meant to come back around, and he just couldn't do it.
Do you lay the 11.5 with the Gators against Kentucky today?
Oh, wow. It's 11.5?
11.5.
So I saw 10.5 this morning. God, how do you... When's the last time?
How do you bet against the Gators?
I was just going to say, when's the last time the Gators didn't cover? Did Kentucky manage to cover at the end at Rupp?
No.
I mean, God, when's the last time the Gators didn't cover?
Seton Hall's getting 7.5.
Yeah, I like that because it's their season. They're excited at the Big East because all 4 teams are original Big East members. It's UConn, Georgetown, St. John, Seton Hall.
Well, I mean, with Seton Hall, St. John's, and UConn, they're right there, too. I mean, I was laughing because Duke doesn't have a lot of fans, but they all go to the ACC tournament, if you know what I mean. There was no Florida State people there last night.
God, they nearly did it.
Do you like Wisconsin plus 8.5 against the Illini?
I like it.
How many games have they played? 1 or 2? Because that's the only thing you worry about.
They're a 5 seed.
Then I think you take them.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. It's all coming up. So, can you benefit from a loss? Because there's a lot of talk today, and maybe it's just people caught up in the immediate aftermath, and it'll go away, quite frankly, after lunch. But, Mark, there's a lot of people pretty damn excited about the future of Florida State basketball based on how this first-year head coach got really a bunch of misfits. I mean, they were picked to finish 17th in the ACC. And the way they finished the year, the last 2 months of the season, they were a top 30 team in the country in every metric you could look at. And they've got, for what it's worth, 5 of the top 150 recruits in the country committed to them for next year. And Florida State doesn't have a whole lot of money. But what's happened in the last couple of days, Mark, is, and you've seen it publicly, some longtime football boosters at Florida State have said, you know what? Football program disgusts me. I think I'm going to send some money to the basketball program because I like that coach who's one of theirs. Okay. And I like the way they played, People in Tallahassee took notice. They were a lot of fun second half of the year. Almost beat the Gators in Gainesville. Split with Miami. Okay, beat tournament teams down the stretch. Lost to Duke by 1 and by 4.
And I will say, what impressed me the most about losing by 1 yesterday is that when they blew the lead in the second half, and with about 11 minutes left, the media timeout comes and Duke's got a lead. Duke looked like they were about to blow their doors off at that point. I literally was worried about Florida State plus 17.5. I'm not kidding. And they came out of the media timeout and they stayed composed and they battled their way back. Not only did they have a shot to win it, but it was a great defensive play to get that shot to win it. I mean, they blocked a shot on they didn't foul. They didn't panic. They played hard defense. They get a block. They get the ball to the guy they wanted to get it to. I'm with you. I wish he would have drove the bucket. But he knows there's not a lot of time left. And the first thing, his first job at that point is to make sure you get a shot off. Period. End of sentence.
Right.
So I don't know how much you can take from a loss because it was a undermanned Duke team. But I think you can look at the program. You know, we talked yesterday and we didn't bring it up. Someone brought it up, I think, in the chat room, if not the text line. Yesterday was the day that the NCAA tournament was canceled during COVID.
Yeah, you brought it up yesterday.
No, I brought that up.
Right.
That it was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the chat room mentioned how good that Florida State team was. We never, you and I did not talk about it on air. That was an Elite Eight team.
Well, in fact, and we've talked about it many times over the last 6 years, they were going Hamilton was finally going to have a Final Four team because they had lost in an Elite Eight and a Sweet 16 in the 2 years previous, and this was his best team. And
they were good.
They were excellent.
And they never recovered from that COVID year, if you will. That crushed the Knowles basketball program. It truly did.
Right. And when they were a Sweet 16 team, they lost to a team that went to the Final Four. Obviously, in the Elite Eight, they lost to a team that went to the Final Four, and then they were coming back. And they were going. They were we were all over them for weeks. We were like, we are picking the Knowles to go to the Final Four. It was like when we picked the Canes 2 years ago. We were all over them.
David, look it. We'd all, and I don't just mean you and I mean every single person listening but one who may like basketball more than football. And I mean one, and I'm not, that's the exact number I'm using. There could be one of you out there. I doubt it, but maybe one. But David, I hate to say it right now. The 5 schools in Florida are better at basketball than they are football. Think about it. Gators are a 1 seed. Miami, they might be better in football. They went to the last game, but this is a good basketball team. UCF has been a disappointment in football since joining the Big 12.
Right.
They haven't gone to a bowl game yet. They're going to the tournament this year. South Florida, coming off of maybe their best season that they've had in football, but if they can do what they need to do, the American, they're going to the tournament.
Yeah, and they've won the American regular season 2 of the last 3 years. So, yeah.
And South Florida, and Florida State, even though it didn't end the way they wanted it to in basketball, you could certainly argue that their basketball program is in better shape than their football program. Hell, I don't know how hard you have to argue to prove that. And nobody in Florida wants the 5 universities to be better at basketball than they are in football. No. But at this point in time, I think I'm right, David.
Well, and we're pretty sure we're going to get 3 bids. Florida, Miami are in. UCF's in because everybody on the bubble keeps losing. I will say they could be an 11, but no better than a 10, but they're in. Okay, and now South Florida's 2 wins away.
How about that?
How about that is right. Damn. It's depressing.
It
We're
is.
we're all excited about what these basketball teams are doing. I mean, Gators have a hell of a chance to repeat again. Imagine if they do it twice in 20 years. Huh.
And I didn't pull it up, but I mean, if we were to rank the sports, and look, and I know it pales in comparison, but is the state of the baseball programs of those 5 schools also ahead of the football programs?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
The Miami baseball program has been really up and down. All right.
Gators is rock solid.
It is.
I'm just saying. The football teams need to get their act together.
Yes. Yes,
The
they
football
do.
teams need to get their act together.
Yes.
UCF, I'm talking to you. Florida, I'm talking to you. Florida State, I'm talking to you. And let's hope Heartline can continue what Golish has done for the couple of years he was at South Florida. Did you see Heartline? I think it was at spring ball. A running back was late for practice. So he basically kicked all the running backs out of the locker room for a couple of days. The whole position group got kicked out of the locker room because one guy was late. This is the one brother does something, the other 2 get beat too. Want to make someone accountable? He's putting it on the teammates to make sure everyone's accountable.
Damn. Of course, things start to go sideways. Guys may go, hey, you want to be the one late on Tuesday?
Not at this point. Not at this point. They've done too much too soon. And I still think everybody's buying in because we think it was a really good hire. He's got to prove it. He was a great coordinator. Can he be a great head coach? Because obviously Alex Golish did a remarkable job with the Bulls.
Yep, but we thought Skip Holtz was going to be tremendous. Thought it was perfect. And obviously didn't work out. So we'll see. Heartline has had his choice of jobs and decided to take this one. Awesome. Now you got to win.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Said it a million times. I'm on the USF campus. It's basically where I'm staying. It's going to be a game changer when that on-stadium field complex is done. It's right there. Going to be easy for the students. Going to be a huge jump in attendance, and it'll look sold out every game. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Pulled my first Trent in a while since I think Trent's in here. Just goofing around there. I made a 5-team parlay bet today in college basketball. $2 bet to win 50. Just for you know what and giggles. Laid the points with Michigan and Florida. Took the points with Wisconsin. Laid the points with Purdue and laid the points with VCU because they're another team that has to win. And they're playing Duquesne, a 7 seed.
What's Purdue's number that you got?
They're laying 3.5. They're favored against Nebraska.
Well, they showed they could blow Nebraska's doors off till they couldn't hold on at the end. So I hope you're right.
So, David, you'll laugh at this. Somehow, because my wife has taken over for you in her charitable giving, which means all of the mail that we get on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
But then they also email. And somehow, some way, a lot of these emails come to me. And they are, to my email address, but it says Mrs. Miller. So not only do we get unbelievable amounts of mail from all of these charitable groups, and a lot of them, because of my wife's faith, are all Catholic charities.
Right.
I now get the emails to go along with them.
Oh, great.
But that's what I thought. It's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, great.
Well, I'll spin it. Here's why it is great. Okay. It all comes to you. Fantastic. You can attend to that.
I just delete. I don't even read. They're gone.
Yep.
He gone.
Yep. Hope the mail comes in your name to the house also, because in a couple months it'll just be shred. Any mail? Nope. I did that for a while. I threw out all the people looking for money.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. Not just the day, but the week. Have yourself a great weekend. Big week next week. Get ready for it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a Friday the 13th. Do you believe in the negative stuff that some people believe happens on Friday the 13th? I do. Mark doesn't.
I'm proud of our audience. Looking superstition right in the eye and telling it to go blank itself.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck today.
I need it. I need a lot of luck. I need good vibes. I need all that stuff. Big day today. But let's get to business.
Should we play Good Vibrations?
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
David, we're not in your mother's boyfriend from the 70s convertible, okay, with an 8-track.
Right. Damn. You would have been great. That was cherry red 55 T-Bird. You would have looked great, especially now with your dome. Okay, you'd be with an 8-track.
8-track, and then I need one of those fishing caps to cover the dome.
Totally. You would have been leather seats.
Some people sent me pictures of Jim Furyk when he played in a golf tournament, had the hat on, took the hat off, and his dome was white.
White.
And then the rest of them was some hinge of red, light brown.
Uh-huh.
We start in 1639 today when this little school named Cambridge College renamed itself Harvard. You may have heard of it. 1877, 15-year-old Chester Greenwood patents his invention, earmuffs.
Ooh.
Remember when General Motors was the biggest corporation in the world? Today in 1950, to say there might have been a reason why employees wanted a little bit more money, they recorded net earnings in 1950 of $656 million. We always go Wally Pipp because obviously Garrett set the record for playing in games. But it was today in 54 that the Braves' Bobby Thompson breaks his ankle. He is replaced by Hank Aaron.
Pretty good replacement.
Yeah, that is.
I think the kid's ready.
Couple of significant Chicago things today in 1960. First off, the Chicago Cardinals in the NFL move to St. Louis. And the White Sox unveiled their new road uniforms. They would have the players' names above the numbers. That was the first team to have names on their jerseys. It just became too commercial today in 65 for Eric Clapton. He leaves the Yardbirds because they were too commercial. Jeff Beck replaced him. John Gotti kind of got the Teflon Don name today in 87. He was acquitted of racketeering. Exxon paid $1 billion in fines today in 91 for the cleanup of the Valdez oil spill. Today in 99, Holyfield and Lennox Lewis fight to a split draw after 12 rounds. Very controversial decision. 2007, Amy Winehouse, second album, a great album, Back to Black. That would have Song of the Year. It was Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Rehab on it. Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio is elected Pope today. You know him as Pope Francis. That happened in 2013. Today in 2019, Gambino mob family high up Frank Collie shot dead outside of his home. The first killing of a high-ranking mobster since 85. That's a pretty good run without someone getting whacked in New York.
And 85 was when Gotti had the the mob boss killed.
Frank Castellone, right?
Was it Frank? Yeah. Or Paul?
Paul Castellone. Okay. You're right.
Right. And then Gotti became the boss.
The song was 30 days in the hole, but today ended Brady's 40 days in the hole because he came out of retirement today in 2022 to play one more year with the Bucks.
And then apparently he and his wife both got attorneys.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
L. Ron Hubbard, Neil Sedaka, Andy Bean, and Dave Wills, the former Rays announcer, would have all celebrated birthdays. Wills would have been 62 today. Good, great human being.
Yeah,
William H. Macy, 76. Adam Clayton from U2 is 66. Will Clark, 62. College Hall of Famer Chris Zorich is 57. Trent Dilfer, 54. Johan Santana, 47. Overrated hockey player, very good announcer or analyst, PK Subban is 37. Michaela Schifrin is 31. Braden Point is 30. Jack Harlow, 28. And Coco Gauff is just 22 years old today. What did I miss, David?
I don't think you missed anything. I thought you might leave me Clapton, and I was going to get into the two music guys get into a discussion because apparently him leaving in and of itself, wasn't massive, but then where he went, which then where Jeff Beck went, and then apparently then it kind of shaped 10 plus years of music.
Well, then this Page guy would be with the Yardbirds, and they would have a pretty good band after that.
Right.
You may have heard of them called Led Zeppelin.
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. That's Clapton. I think he's the only artist in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when it was still just the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now it's the Crap Hall of Fame, but he's in it 3 times. He's in as a solo artist. He's in with the Yardbirds, and I don't know if it's Derek and the Dominoes is the other one, but he's in it 3 times. But that place jumped the shark, so I don't even know why I brought it up.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
David, this story so has your name all over it in so many different ways.
That was kind of a tease before he froze up, huh?
I was just wondering, is that on my part or his side? But I guess, yeah, Mark just froze up. All right. His internet went kaput.
I was wondering if it was just me until I saw you moving, David.
And I was wondering if it was me too. I'm like, wait a minute, my internet's still connected. So maybe Mark will come back. Hopefully so. If not, big day for Mark today. We wish him the best. All right. Hopefully it goes well. For what it's worth, we'll get this out of the way now. World Baseball Classic tonight, USA, Canada, 8 o'clock on Big Fox. Big Fox, USA, Canada. This is the quarterfinals. You lose, you're out. Done. It's over. You win, obviously, you're to the semis. I think the semis is Sunday, and then I think the final would be on Tuesday, which would be interesting. Tuesday night, World Baseball Classic, or play-in games to March Madness. There's only 2 NHL games tonight. They do have playoff ramifications. Biggest one, believe it or not, is in Long Island. LA Kings and the Islanders. The Kings really need the points. The Islanders right now are in. LA's a point back in the West for the final wild card. 8 games in the NBA. None of the locals are in action. Amazon Prime's doubleheader is Cleveland, Dallas early, and then Minnesota, Golden State late. By the way, Warriors have fallen 2 games below 500. Or I'm sorry, they've fallen a game below 500. They've fallen to the 9 seed. Steph is still out, and now they're saying at least 2 more weeks. Now, I think the bottom of the West is so bad that Golden State can hang on to a play-in spot, but obviously, no Steph. No need to pay attention to Golden State. So, Mark, you froze literally right as you were beginning that. So
yeah, and I was really happy about the story. The good came from Pittsburgh, where a postman delivering mail in minus 11-degree temperatures found a wallet. He went 52 miles out of his way to deliver the wallet to the owner.
52 miles, huh?
Yep.
52 miles. Yep. I left it on a Wawa countertop, and the guy couldn't return it to the manager. Couldn't even take my money and return it. Nope.
No.
Had to take my money and throw the wallet in the garbage.
For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where an 18-year-old was arrested after he brandished a firearm during a road rage incident. Cape Coral police responded to the disturbance. A driver in a black Cadillac sedan pointed a handgun with a laser at another car in a road rage incident. Dismissed Jeffrey Belez, arrested by CCPD. And finally, the ugly. And this is one that it's disturbing, but I'm going there anyhow. Fort Myers, where police responded to a call at around 4:45 in the morning of a disoriented 13-year-old boy wearing a T-shirt and underwear lying in a grocery store parking lot. Turned out dad gave the kid acid.
Whoa.
Right.
Whoa.
Right. According to the arrest report, the dad told the children that they should do the drugs with him because he knows what he's doing. Jeffrey Rivenborough, 38, was arrested at the La Quinta Inn for supplying his children, again, with acid.
Golly.
Wow. And I'm not against acid. I am for 13-year-olds. You know, you want to go to the Sphere and see a Dead and Company show? It trip your brains out. I'm all for it. At 13, no. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly today on Friday the 13th. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, signing bonuses for new officers and other jobs available. For all information, capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
And Mark, while I talked about what's in the NBA and the NHL and the WBC, so the big conferences are to either the quarters or the semis. Today, SEC beginning at 1, Kentucky, Florida, 3:30, Tennessee, Vandy, 7 o'clock, Ole Miss, Alabama, 9:30, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Oklahoma, on a lot of bracketologists' first 4 or next 4 out, would make the game against Arkansas tonight an absolute must. Miami, Virginia, 7 o'clock tonight, ACC semis, ESPN 2. Winner to face the winner of Duke Clemson in the final tomorrow. Big 12, new court. They got rid of the whole lights and changed the floor. They got a whole bunch of games today in the Big 12, starting with the semifinal at 7, Iowa State, Arizona, and then Kansas, Houston, the other semi at 9:30. Mark, your Big 10 quarterfinals, noon, Ohio State, Michigan.
Michigan, big favorite, like 12.5 in that game.
Wisconsin, Illinois at 2:30. By the way, both those games on Big 10 Network. Purdue, Nebraska at 6:30 on Big 10 Network. And so is UCLA, Michigan State. Wow. Quarterfinals of the Big 10 tournament. Not getting a prominent cable channel. Big East semis, Georgetown, UConn at 8, Seton Hall, St. John's on Big Fox at 5:30. They're going to go the Johnnies leading into the World Baseball Classic. Because Georgetown,
Team
UConn,
USA is a 4.5 run favorite, David.
Yeah, I'd take Canada in the runs.
I think I would too. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll do this all over again Monday morning. A lot of college hoop. We'll know the field of 68 by Monday morning. The players over the weekend, and obviously more NHL and NBA action. We'll catch you up on everything and probably a few free agent signings Monday morning, 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
At
sound.
the Diamond District, we have that one-of-a-kind ring that she's been dreaming of.
Whether you're beginning to think about proposing or already have something in mind, we're here to help.
Our sales team listens, educates, and guides you to the perfect engagement ring so you don't have to feel intimidated.
We guarantee that whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here.
So when it's time to pop the big question, come visit us, Jason and Todd, at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right. Thanks, Raj.
Good vibes today, Mark.
Thanks, my brother. Appreciate it. Good luck to your Boilermakers.
Thank you, and good luck to Sparty. I'd love a rematch.
I would too. That would be nice. All right. Have a good week next week, and I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, bub.